Everybody. David's having some technical difficulties, but he's going to reboot his computer and he'll be in here with us in a bit. Vahagraphy's probably joining us. He's going to want to get in on this, obviously. It was his his video that sparked all this conversation, and I'm really happy he did it. I've been following the conversation over in the chat with, before the feed started, and you guys are on it. Just so you know, David Stewart is going to come in. He's going to have about a 30-minute presentation talking about the Aurora. For anybody that's interested in Aurora and how to do it or whatever, he's not going to go super detailed because, as he explained it to me, he could talk about this for 2 or 3 hours, but maybe give you a taste. But the big piece of that is that there's a lot of activity going on right now, and next week, there's a chance, according to him, pretty good chance that the Aurora is going to be visible down in the lower 48. So those of you that are interested, get ready for that. But as soon as we finish, and I'll give the go-ahead, I'm going to open the phone line up, and the chat should go crazy, and let's talk about the Tony North thing and give Vahagn some support. Looks like Jeffrey Neville's in the green room. I'm going to let him sit there for a minute and listen to me. I'll wait and see if I get a smile. Yep, there it is. All right, he's in. Got to have a little fun.
Oh, I like that. I'm in the green room.
That's, I just realized that's what everybody calls it over here.
Does that mean they call it by money?
Yeah, they call it the green room, my little sidebar that I have for everybody that's joining. It's pretty cool. So let me go down the list of people that are in here now. Charles Davis, Michael Mallow drums, Agnetha's in here, Mike Farwell, Jaspreet, Ted or Art Bear. And over on the other side here, because there's some that haven't answered up yet. Who'd I call? Michael Farwell. We got Roy Bigsby. Sorry, Roy, didn't mean to leave you out. I got 3 screens up in here. One you can see on camera behind me there with Mr. Rock and Roll Photographer. And then the other, I have all the chat up on. So let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. No, I think I covered you all. Gustavo jumped in too. All right. Welcome, Gustavo. Welcome to you all for another night of photography talk on AP Studio Show. All right. And it's really hopping, and I'm glad to see that because I'm as fired up as you guys are. I just don't know how far we go in talking about him. But yeah, I've conjured up in my mind a video that I want to do, piggybacking on Vahagn's video, because there are some points that I really would like to debate with him. And one of the things I was thinking about, and if I do a video, this will be in it, is, obviously inviting him on the show live, because I don't want just I want him live, because then there's no backtracking, there's no editing, there's no anything. You say what you say, and it's out there for everybody to interpret what they think your meaning is. And I think that goes a long way to show who you are. I've been doing this live. What you see is what you get. No matter what you see in a video I may produce in the future, you know who I am. So no matter how I look on video or act on video, you know exactly how I am, because live tells all. So that's what I'd like. I'd like to see him go live with me or Vahagn or someone and address these questions that we have. Because I honestly, and while I wait for David to get back in here, honestly, a couple of the points real quick, and just keep all this in your mind. We're definitely going to open the line up and let you voice your opinion on the phone, or obviously watch chat and address your comments, questions there as well. Hey, Jeff, Leslie, good to see you, man. When he talked about the video of the Z9, so, I would like to ask him a question. Choose one or the other, because it is definitely one or the other. Either you're completely ignorant of the Z9 and how to focus, and maybe you left it in manual focus and won't tell us, or it was a definite jab and you fixed that clip so that it wouldn't be in focus, so you could complain about it. And my question is, why do you want Nikon to fail? Because that is obviously what you're doing. And I just want to know, what did Nikon do to you that hurt you so bad you feel you have to actually make things up to hurt them? Because I don't know if, he's a very smart individual, but even smart people can be stupid at times. I can't imagine how he thinks he can get away with some of the things that he said when the internet is on fire about the Z9 and how capable and good and great a camera it is. And I'm not saying that the Z9 is going to be the camera for all times, that nothing's ever going to beat it. That would be crazy talk. That would be Tony Northrup talk. I'm saying that right now it is the camera, and everybody says so. Doesn't he realize how stupid he looks when he brings up false claims? It's just absolutely ridiculous. But all right, I said my piece to get it rolling. You guys think about what you want to talk about when we get to that, or you can throw some comments in here now until we get David back. Jeffrey, I should say Jeff. You go by Jeff, not Jeffrey, right?
Either or, doesn't matter. My mom used to say Jeffrey when I was in trouble.
Well, yeah, your whole name. It's not just Jeffrey. It's like, Chuck Egan, what are you doing? Where are you? When the last name came out, or even the middle name came out, buddy, I knew that it was time to get my act together. All right. Let me look at the comments here real quick. Time and a place for JPEG versus RAW. Absolutely. Agree, Mike. Northrop is sponsored by Sony. Viewers are easily fooled. I didn't know that he was sponsored by them. And by all rights, I think in YouTube, I'm by far an expert about YouTube's rules, regulations. Jeff's been in it for 3 days, and he probably knows more about it than I do. But I thought you had to declare it, or you were supposed to declare if you're sponsored, the video that you're producing is sponsored or anything like that. Either way, I don't know. I didn't know that he is. Mozman, welcome, buddy. Welcome.
Well, it's amazing that, DP Review gives the Z9 a 94% gold rating, and apparently he gives it a 49%. Go figure.
Yeah. Is he trying to take over the market for reviews or something? But you lose all credibility when you make stupid claims that everybody that watches video goes, I didn't know it was that bad because I just watched 39 videos that showed it was great.
I mean, I did update the firmware the other day, and went out and shot. And not that I had a lot of subjects, unfortunately, that day to shoot. But one thing I noticed when I was using the 3D tracking, which was my big thing to see how it behaved, the little bit of time I was able to use it on a small bird, it looked like the tracking was definitely a lot better. I mean, it actually shrunk smaller onto the head of the small bird.
Yep.
And it was really, really good. So, I mean,
I'm the little I've played with it so far, I'm liking it. And I really like the EVF at 120 frames per second. Some are saying they can't tell the difference. I absolutely can, especially if you're moving the camera around a lot. You can, it's OVF like to me, honestly. It's as good as my D850. Now, the purists are going to slaughter me for a statement like that, but it really is. Hey, we got another person in the green room. Everybody welcome. We're going to make him sweat a minute. I just want to see if he reacts.
Put him in the red room. Put him in the red room.
Okay, here he comes. Everybody welcome. Retired photojournalist and photographer extraordinaire, although he's not as good as his wife, I think. Anyway, it's Mr. John Ishii.
Hi, guys. Morning.
How you doing, John?
Well, I just finished watching this. Was it DP review guy, Chris Nichols? Did you see that?
Yeah, actually,
it was just published like a couple hours ago.
Yeah, it amazes me that Jordan actually loves the Z9 because he's very picky about video capabilities, and we got a huge echo in the back with you, John.
Again.
It's okay.
I'm glad to see it's not just me.
you know, the other day I was watching Vahagn's rant. You know, was it yesterday on
Yeah.
Northrop? Yeah. I was on the floor, man.
It was great. He spoke for everybody that doesn't have a platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody
I
saying
haven't
hi to
watched
you in the chat.
TNC in a long time, and when I saw the clips that Vahagn shared, I got so upset. I had to like walk away for a while before I could even go on his feed and make a comment. I was just like, I was steaming so much, all my hair fried off my head. It was really bad.
John, we're going to take up a collection. And we're going to get you an audio system.
Well, you know, it seems to work fine on Zoom for some reason, but for some reason, this restream has a delay. Now, I don't know if it's a mic problem or how I got it the way it's set up.
I don't know what it is, but we can hear ourselves in the background as we speak.
So, unless...
Do you have us open on another screen?
A what?
Do you have us on another screen, on another feed?
No. Unless I turn off this mic and go to internal mic. How about now?
Sounds okay now, I think. Nope.
Yeah, no.
We're
same.
still echo.
This is using the iMac mic instead of the Rode.
I don't understand why.
I don't know. On Zoom, it seems to work fine. But anyway, I'll tell you what. I'll just keep quiet.
No. We can't have you keep quiet. It doesn't matter. It's ourselves that we can hear.
Okay.
We better just say good things so we can hear ourselves say it twice.
Yep.
It's that better. Well, I'll check on YouTube and find out what the issue is.
Yeah, I have no idea. Any ideas in the chat over here? Nope, still hearing it. I don't understand why we can hear.
Maybe the distance, you know, I'm halfway across the world.
Yeah, I guess it could have something to do with that, but Frames TM, I don't have an issue with. Did you go to your settings, John, and look at it and see? Because there's a setting for your camera, there's a setting for audio, and audio has what you're listening to the feed on.
Cancellation. Noise.
Whoa.
I don't know. Every time I use Restream, this.
Hello.
Even the internal.
Yeah, it's gotten worse.
So the feedback, I don't understand why we're getting the feedback.
Yeah, I'm a long ways off in the phone.
Well, it's not you. It's in the audio. So yeah, so the audio that you're hearing, the mic is picking up, and that's where we get the feedback or the echo.
That is the oddest thing.
Are you using external speakers?
Yeah.
Okay, go to just the audio from the computer.
Let's see. Output. Okay, how about now? No. It's even worse. Sounds like the outer limits.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Okay. I don't hear us echoing anymore, though. Hang on. Stop right there.
Yeah, say
hello,
something.
Hello.
Oh, boy.
I don't hear us. Okay, John, you talk.
Well, I'll try to sort this out.
That's close. That's close. It
Close,
sounds much
yeah.
better. Now it just got. Yeah. It may be a headphone night. I hate to say that, but. All right. So. Okay, I'll let him get his headphones in. All right, people. David should be back in a few minutes. We'll listen to the Aurora presentation, and then, man, it's going to be, we're going to turn it loose. I'm wondering where Vahagn went. He must have had something. He must have had something he had to do. I talked to him earlier, and I thought he was going to be in here. I'm sure he will be, but something must have come up to prevent him from getting in here sooner. So we got to have the star of the show. All right. It's funny. I still hear myself. So are the external speakers still connected? Can you hear me in the headphones, John?
I have to connect my Rode. There I go. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, let me see. All right.
I had to connect the Rode
Yep.
Connect.
No echo now, right? Yeah, good.
You're good, John.
We're good.
Oh, great.
There it is. All right. All right. Yeah, modern technology just continually.
Good to see you, Jeff.
Same here.
All right, we got everybody in here. John, this is going to probably get wild once we really get started. I'm trying to hold the villagers at bay right now. Everybody has their pitchfork and torch, wanting to attack the monster.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We need some flaming torch emojis to show up on the chat.
Exactly. This is probably the way Nikon USA feels about me. I know that they're no fan of me. Oh man. Yeah, well, Tony messed it up this time because things were very obvious in his video. And here's the deal. If he didn't do it on purpose, then I mean he's got a choice. He can say, yes, I did it on purpose, or he can say, I'm an idiot and I just don't know how to use the camera, and I really don't know anything about the state of the market. And which do you think he would choose? Neither. He's just going to remain mum on the whole issue. But Tony's a smart guy. A lot of people, I saw people defending him, talking about his content. Okay, he's got some content that is good. I get that. I get it. But the fact that he's still on this kick to kill Nikon, I'm sorry. I can't sit back and watch him continue to do that. And watching some of the things that he said in his video were just beyond ridiculous. The fact that Nikon's going to take another 2 or 3 years to catch up with the market. And DP Review, Chris and Jordan just dropped the video today talking about what a great camera it is. And Chris doesn't even want a big, large body camera, but he's on the fence about should I, shouldn't I? I mean, come on. There's way too much evidence out there to deny that the camera's a great camera. Are there going to be better cameras? Yes. But right now, it is the camera to beat, no doubt about it. And he goes on the air talking about he would recommend nobody buy a Nikon.
I just don't understand why anyone, I don't care who it is, why would anyone want any brand, not just Nikon, why would anyone want any brand to go belly up?
Yeah.
I mean, it's competition is what keeps everybody trying to improve. If you just had, if Nikon went belly up, do you really think Sony's going to be really motivated to try to keep improving stuff, and the prices are going to go up, and you know, one or two companies are going to have all the market share and sit on the big pie and not be innovative anymore?
Hence the question: what did Nikon do to you?
I don't get it. I don't know what the problem is.
Well, yeah, they definitely, there's an issue.
You know, it's
I wanted to give you a heads up.
That Cheshire cat smile that he has all the time too when he's talking about Nikon and throwing these negative things out there. I mean, it's a giveaway. Yeah, and if it's his normal face, why is it that it doesn't look like that? And I see David's in the green room. We'll give him a second here. His camera's working. I want him to know that. But anyway, John, you had some news or something that you said, I don't know, maybe not so much now, but talking about something you attended, right?
Yeah. Well, the other day, I met up with Nikon Singapore and Nikon Malaysia, and we were going to discuss some Z9 event that was supposed to happen yesterday, but it got canceled because one of the Nikon guys got COVID. But they did mention on Wednesday that Nikon will eliminate and not produce any cameras in the $1,500 to $2,000 range.
Wow.
Okay. Well,
so that's over.
Well, they didn't put a price on it. They didn't. Yeah, they didn't give us numbers, but they said that all the way back before the Z9 was actually officially announced. They said that was their way ahead. They were not in the entry-level camera market or something along those lines anymore. And it seems to be the case from what we're seeing come out of Nikon. I know a lot of people are going to argue and say that isn't what they should do, but I think that they can. Well, I think that they can now. And they're not going to compete with camera phones is what it amounts to.
Yeah, and then they also said that they shut down Nikon Indonesia, I think Nikon Thailand, and a couple other countries. And they're going to leave it all up to the distributors.
What up to the distributors?
Well, all the back end and the distribution of their camera gear will be done through distributors.
Okay.
Instead of a Nikon corporate.
Oh, okay, costs. Okay. Does that are you talking about like Nikon USA?
Oh. Not Nikon USA, but the Nikon Indonesia.
Yeah.
Nikon Thailand.
Okay.
Nikon Malaysia.
Okay. So it's specific to the
Hong Kong
Asian market.
Still considered Nikon Hong Kong.
Oh, okay, okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. Jeffrey, you not like your position and you switched or what?
No, my screen came up with it. It lost the connection and had to reestablish it or something.
So, I just thought you didn't like your
placement. Hollywood's. This is like Hollywood Squares.
Yeah. I just thought maybe you didn't like your placement in the window there.
I change places with Rich Little once in a while,
all right. All right, welcome, Mr. David.
Hello.
Hi, David.
I had to switch cameras as much as I really didn't want to, but that was my my option.
Well,
And I do have a slight halo mic because the background that you see is not the background that's there.
yeah, I was going to say your green screen is Evans. It's working against that green background, a green photo. But cool, it's working.
Yeah. But anyway, is now that I'm ready, and I hate to admit it, but my I'm having problems with my D850. It's not working for some reason. That's what I normally use for my webcam. And now I have my Olympus, and hopefully it's got enough power. We'll see. But anyway, if worst comes to worst, I'll change batteries. But I can get started on this. And one of the things is when I give this dissertation tonight, I'm going to be using the metric system because being that we're in Canada, it's I do some conversions, but they'll be very rough. And when it comes to,
don't worry about the conversions. Just give it to us in metric, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
But everybody's chomping at the bit to go into this Tony Northrup video bit. But we're going to give you your opportunity, though, here.
Yeah.
As we talked before. So 30 plus or minus a few, if you would, David. And then we'll let the chat determine how much longer. But yeah, let's kick it off, man.
Oh, okay. And the opinions that are expressed are my own. And I use your own judgment when operating any equipment outside the manufacturer specifications, which when it comes to temperature, you will be. I treat all of my photography as a big experiment. And I try different things if I can get the effect that I want. Sometimes I'm successful, and then there's the other times. But and the big thing, because you're going to be using your equipment outside the manufacturer's specifications when it comes to temperature, if you're doing this in the winter time, it's you really have to watch it. It's I regularly freeze my equipment, and it doesn't bother me because I've been using high-end equipment like this for the last, when I include my surveying time for about the last 35 years, I normally use a DSLR because it makes a noise. I can tell by the noises that it makes if it's having problems and if it's going to fail. I've yet to do the same thing with my Z9. And my big problem with it, because it doesn't have a shutter, I don't know how well it's working and if it's struggling or stuff like that. And that is a problem that I have. But I'm going to have to do an awful lot of testing, and it's too warm this year.
Well, go watch Morton Helmer. He'll show you how far down you can go in temperature. He doesn't seem to mind pushing it to its limits.
Well, I don't mind freezing my DSLRs.
Well, he doesn't mind freezing his Z cameras.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a test.
Well, yeah, it's like the DSLRs or the Nikons. They're rated down to 0 degrees centigrade. And it's manufacturer specifications, and the Z9 is rated down to -10.
Yeah, well, that's pretty limited, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and like when there's snow on the ground here, if it's -10, that's a nice day.
All right. So, yeah. Well,
okay.
Temperature be darned. Let's
go, because I got a ways to get around temperature.
Okay.
But I'm going to start this off with recommended equipment because everybody likes to talk gear first because it's simple and it's easy. And it's I say get a low light camera, and I always have plural with the minimum. You want minimal noise at ISO 3200 because you're going to live there. You want some fast wide angle glass, And my go-to is a 28 millimeter f1.8. That being said, I have a 2024 and a 36 or 35 millimeter lens. You want a very steady tripod. You want spare batteries, and you want to keep them in a warm place. I have a camera jacket for all of my cameras that I made because I'm too cheap to make one or to buy one. And it's I was got into a discussion with a guy in Poland about this, and he recommended a NASA site. And then I had a look at that, and I figured, well, that's way too much work. So what I did is I took an old pair of old pants that I had, and I cut the leg off so that it fit over the camera, and I put Velcro on it so it covers it. But you do not want to be warming your camera, because if one part of it is much warmer than another part, you're going to have problems with your focus and how your lens works. For a lens warmer, I only use it if I have condensing humidity. And in the wintertime, that doesn't happen. I always use an intervalometer. In the Nikons, it's built in. Some of the better Canons, from what I understand, is built in, but only lately. And I've heard it, the Canon's some of them got a firmware update, and then it came in there. You either want an external one or an internal one. And for your light, you want to use a red light, so you keep your night vision, because once you lose your night vision, it takes you 15 minutes to get it back. And that is the majority of my gear recommendations. And it's some cameras can use a USB power bank, and but I don't. I'll rather use the batteries, because I find that in the cold temperatures, my camera fails before the batteries fail. Normally, there are always exceptions. Okay, preferred locations for your Aurora photography. Well, if it's down south, you want to be on a higher feature, like a hill, with a clear view of the sky from the northeast to the northwest. And that is so that you can see further, and then you can see the horizon further away. A dark sky location is preferred but not required. I've shot the Aurora from the roof of my condo. I live in downtown Calgary, and I've got tall buildings all the way around me, and I've been successful. Only got a population of 1 million, so it's and another thing, your camera sensor can see more than you can with the naked eye. You know, just because you cannot see the Aurora doesn't mean that your camera cannot. So what you want to do is take a couple of test shots and see what happens. And if you want to have an artistic photo, which eventually what you get into, is you want to have a foreground object that will be the predominant subject, with the Aurora in the background.
So basically, like a landscape photo, look for a foreground to go with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I wouldn't worry about that when you're just starting.
Yeah, I just want to capture it. I want to know when it's coming, how I know it's coming. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I'm here with you. But the big thing, you want to know how to use your histogram, because that's going to set your exposure. You know, and you want your histogram just to the left of center. You don't want it on the center. You want it more on the dark side. But on the Nikons that I use, there's three vertical lines. You got one in the center. The one on the left is one stop under. The one on the right is one stop over. That's what I found out from experience. It's for your camera techniques, I suggest that you always shoot raw, because you got a better chance of fixing what you shoot. Because if you shoot a JPEG, your camera is going to process it, and what you see on your display is probably the best that you can ever hope for, because you won't be able to change anything, or won't be able to change much. I always use auto white balance, because I post process everything, so I don't care what the white balance is. And I always use manual exposure, including the manual ISO, because on the Z9 they're saying use auto ISO, and you want to shoot yourself in the foot if you're going to use auto ISO, because
it's going to crank up as far as it can go because of the scene. Yeah.
And it's like I said before, it's the JPEG. Well, that's a processed picture. Depending on what your manufacturer figures that you want to see, that's what they'll try to give you. For your f-stop, shoot wide open. Your ISO, I use 3200 as a starting point. For your shutter speed, I try to use the fastest shutter speed that suits the Aurora movement. And this is, when it gets right down to it, to change your exposure, it's either going to have to be ISO or shutter speed. And it's depending on the night, like I try to get my shutter speed down to a second, but I've got high-end gear. But that being said, I have shot with my Olympus. I got a EM1 Mark II with an f2.8 lens, and that was what I had, and I got acceptable results. My shutter speed was longer, and the Aurora was more blurry, but you're never going to get sharp Aurora because it moves so fast. It's and like I said before, is use your histogram for setting your exposure. That's the only hope that you have for getting it right, and you want to go just to the left of center. You can go a little bit further left, but you're going to have more noise. And the thing is, you want to have less noise, but some noise and with a picture is better than no noise and have nothing. And Chuck, you set beyond topaz denoise, and it works. Yeah. And
I'm a believer.
Yeah. And he said for me to try it, and I tried it for a half an hour and I bought it.
So prior to that, David, were you not using any of the in-camera noise reduction features at all?
That's a waste of time, Jeffrey, for in-camera noise. And your in-camera noise, if you're shooting for less than 30 seconds, the exposure doesn't make a difference. It's only when you go past that. And if I'm having my exposures at 10 seconds or less, then there's no use having your in-camera noise not even turned on. I don't turn it on. It's okay. And it's like I'm a firm believer of using intervalometer. And so what I do is I set my camera up on a tripod. I'll come up, I'll have a good composition. I'll set up my intervalometer to take a picture every 20 or 30 seconds. And I'll have a second camera out there with a slightly different composition. And the thing with an intervalometer is you don't have to be there pressing the button all the time. And there's another reason. With an intervalometer, I can have my camera set up out in the cold, and I can be sitting in my nice warm vehicle watching my camera freeze. And in this, and I have it so that well, like I watch it so that when it does take a picture, that the screen changes so that I know that it's working. And every 10 minutes, I'll go out and make sure that everything is working right. And with my DSLRs, I can listen to how much they're whining, because they all the DSLRs have moving points or parts, and you can and after you've been doing this for a while, you can tell that they're going to fail. And if they do fail, I just bundle it up and take it inside and warm it up, and that's usually finished for the night for it. For my focus techniques, and if you have your foreground object, focus on it, because your Aurora will never be in focus, because it's moving all the time. It'll always be blurry. It's a good idea is, which I don't do very often, is take a couple of shots on your subject that's going to be your foreground, and then for the rest of it, you can focus on the stars, and then you can make a composite. But just superimpose your foreground object in front of your background. It's that will work. So, but that being said, none of my Aurora photography is a composite, or I haven't had to. It's and once you get your lens focused, and I can go into your focus techniques for this, because it can take a while to do. It's put your lens on manual focus so the focus does not change, because there's nothing worse than having your camera refocus after you manually focused. But that being said, my D850 has the autofocus has worked for me when I've been shooting the Aurora, and it is fantastic at low light. I got no comments on my Z9 because the weather here hasn't been conducive to that. It's that batteries, keep your batteries in a warm place. But I always do, because all of my DSLRs use the same battery, is I keep a battery in my pants pocket. So when I notice that a camera stops working, I just swap batteries. And then I go and get a warm battery out of my nice warm truck and put that in my pocket for the next time I have a problem. And I do have my spare battery finally for my Z9. It's
Hey, David.
Yep.
So have you put together some kind of a paper with all these suggestions, all these different things that you're discussing right now?
Yeah. I've got them all listed here.
I was going to say, do you want to provide that? And you can drop it in the chat, how to get that, or you can send it to me, the link, and I'll make sure that it goes in the description.
Yeah, it's what I'll have to do is put it on the cloud.
Okay,
then we can do that,
There you go. Absolutely. Let everybody go investigate, for those that want to see all the equipment tips and all these things. But the big question is, again, I mean, going back to just keeping this alive, is when is the Aurora coming? Is it anytime soon for us? Because probably 90% of the people you're speaking to right now are in a position where there's probably 60% that'll never see the Aurora where they are. And if they do, then everybody hold on, because something big's happening, and it ain't the Aurora.
Meteor.
Yeah, meteor, or a rogue nuke. But anyway.
Okay. But what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen if I can.
Yep. But we want to know how we can see it. We want to know, is there a possibility? That's, and where do we go to get the information to figure it out?
Okay. This is the place that you want to go see it.
Okay.
It's the Space Weather Prediction Center. It's
okay.
If I will put the link I can put the link in the chat, or I have to change this from private chat to public chat, or can I? But it's the Space Weather Prediction Center from your National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. This is there's no other. This is an American site. The majority of the stuff that you want to see is at the top. You have our solar wind speed, which is 480 kilometers per second. 600 and better is where you want it to be. The next number you want to look at, if you can see my cursor, I think you can, is the BZ. And right now it is a +2. You want that to be a negative number. The higher negative number, the better. Down here, it's these times are in GMT, and these are the predictions for the KP index. It's right now, if for where you are, Chuck, don't worry about it unless it's at least a 5.
Okay. What is it right now?
You see now it's the time. It's about a 3 right now.
Okay.
Okay. It's down here. This is what they measured the what they measured the KP at for the just before midnight GMT, and it was a 4. These predictions are as accurate as the weather used to be 20 years ago.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
It's not that accurate, but it's much better than nothing. Okay, and so this is the first part that I want to see when I look at the screen. These are what the sunspots are like here. And when they come down to this part, where can we get this big? Okay, this red here, that's the BZ. And if you can, and right now in the, and this is time down here. So in the last 24 hours, the BZ has ranged from -5 to +5. I've seen that go from -20 to +10 in that time frame. So it all depends. It depends on how the sun is acting at that time.
Okay.
Okay. Now let me out of here.
You ready?
No, it's okay. I'll get back. I just wanted to get out of that screen.
Okay.
Okay. In here, this circle, this is the sun. This is the Earth, and this is Stereo A. It's a satellite that NOAA and NASA use to monitor the sun. And they used to have a Stereo B, but this satellite, it's no longer functioning.
Okay.
Okay. And this graph over here has to do with the prediction. Okay, I'll try going full screen here. Okay. And these are calendar dates. And for their prediction for the plasma density, because you need both density and you need velocity. And so you want them both together. But according to this, between now and the 29th, the density is going to be very low for Earth. For Stereo A, which is off to the side, is going to be more. And this graph here has to do with velocity. And if I click this, it'll load, and we'll see this thing move. Okay. This, but
Hey, David, rather than explaining the charts to us, what I'd like to do is let everybody get in touch with you, those that really want to dig into it. But can you do this for us? Can you tell us or give us an idea over the next, I don't know how far out, and I understand that it's as predictable as the old weather situations, but can you give us an idea what we might expect over the next couple of weeks, say? Is there any outlook that says that it's going to be better, or is there anything coming that we need to look for?
Yes, this is another thing. On YouTube, there's Tamitha Skov. That's Skov. She calls herself the Space Weather Woman, and she does predictions. And
Okay.
And that's who I learned most of my stuff from. She came out with a vlog today for her Patreons, and that should be available for the general public after midnight. And she lives near Los Angeles, and she normally comes out with these things after midnight her time. I don't know if she ever sleeps because she teaches and all of that stuff too.
Okay.
But that is the person that you want to follow if you're going to get into this.
So Michael Mallow Drums asks, is Aurora going to be visible in Eastern Canada? He's in Quebec.
Well, according to NOAA right now, it doesn't look like it. And it all depends on how far north that you are in Quebec, because the populated areas in Quebec are a lot further south than I am. And if I just base this on NOAA's prediction, I would say no. But my camera can see a KP of 3 in Calgary. And it's depending on where he is, he may be able to see it too. But we're also coming up to the dead time in the northern part, because it has to do with. But as you can see in this graph here, this is the North Pole, and this is where the daylight portion, and this is the night portion. When I shoot north right now, I can actually see light from the midnight sun. Right now, this is where the aurora is strong. Here, we'll make that big. There we go. It's and this graph, it changes. I'll load this and we'll show how it is, and it'll give you an idea here's the time up here, and this is what the prediction of the aurora is going to be. If this starts to turn red, then you really got something. Okay, and you see how it changes,
right?
Yeah, and that is normal.
It's like weather radar.
Yeah, and the big trick with this is you got to hope that it's like this, or with some red in it, and you can be, and this comes down close to where you are. When this gets to a KP of 5, it'll be green into the States.
Okay.
And you see from this graph where Quebec being in this area, it's right now well, this is not the current time, but we can go back. Some of this is luck. Some of this is going out and it being there. But what I should do is actually show you some of my pictures and give you an idea. what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's wrap it up with your photo so that we, put a taste in everybody's mouth that want to do this, and can they contact you, David, if they're really interested in this and they're in a position where they could actually view it?
Yeah. And my email is on the bottom right of my pictures.
Okay. I'll put that in the description on the video. So anybody that wants that, want to contact David, you can get a hold of him. And yeah, I'm sure there's a whole lot more. I know when we talked before, you said you could spend hours talking about the preparation, the equipment, the locations, and all the data. Obviously, we can't do that here, but that's why I asked, could they get in touch with you if they're really interested and want to pursue this, completely?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
And the way I watermark my pictures is this is the year that I took it. And this is my picture number, but it also has my camera that I used when I took this, so I know. So this one I took with my D750 in 2015. This is when I was just getting started at it.
Okay.
And this is the same night, and it is quite a bit different. It changes fast. This is an area, well, I was on a higher feature this night, but this town, this light here is from a city with a population of 100,000. It was an hour and a half away.
Okay.
And but you can see the aurora in the sky above it. This picture here was taken in Elk Island National Park, just east of Edmonton, by about 3/4 of an hour. And you'll find this tree in an awful lot of my pictures there. This is Jupiter.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and these are some of the other photographers that are out. And this is also taken with my 750. And this is the moon coming up. And this wasn't such a good night, but this is another year.
No, but I like it because I see the stars in it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is my favorite tree again. And yeah, and
That's me.
And there. And this is looking to the northeast. Well, actually, it's almost east. Yeah.
You're fortunate to be in a location where this is more common.
Yeah. And this light is in Edmonton, which was an hour away. Yeah. And most of these so far have been with my D750. This is my D600. And I still have it available if I need it.
I love that. That's a fantastic photo.
Yeah. And this is back to my 750.
I'm going to guess this is an exposure or shutter speed back that last photo.
This one?
Yeah, because I can see that obviously it's not quite as distinct, the edges of the aurora or whatever. Is that a longer exposure?
Well, I'll just look at the file information and we'll know. 2 seconds.
Okay.
It's shorter.
Okay. Well, wrong on all accounts.
Okay. Yeah. And but like I try to get my exposures down. You know,
Yeah, I can see
order
it.
of 2 seconds, But
Yeah.
But then you got to push everything. And this was my background picture, and this one here looks like a hammerhead shark.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this: do you ever see any other colors? The magenta aurora.
Just wait here.
Oh, okay.
I got some other colors. Okay.
Okay.
And this is just north of Calgary, and this is a KP3. This exposure was for the Aurora, and this was shot at 1 o'clock in the morning. So that just shows you how faint that the Aurora was.
You got a meteor up there too, it looks like.
Yeah, there's a pair of them. There's one here.
Yeah.
Actually, those are probably satellites.
Okay. Yeah, it would have gone all the way across the screen with that shutter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And I do shoot the Milky Way every so often, and this is just north of the U.S. It's in Saskatchewan, right on the border between there and Montana. Yeah. Okay. It's about 6 hours north of Calgary where I shot this, and they're starting to get a little bit of color here. But just because there's clouds in the sky, there's no reason not to go out because the clouds are backlit. And this, okay, this picture was shot looking north. This one was shot looking southeast. The KP was probably fairly high. If the KP is high and the BZ is negative, the BZ will do is it'll push the Aurora fairly far south.
Hello.
So,
yeah, we hear you, buddy.
Hey guys.
Can you hear us?
Yes. How are you guys? Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Nice
we're
shot.
good. We're good. Hang on a minute. We're going to get through this presentation, buddy, and then we're on you. Okay.
All right.
Okay. This was with my fisheye, which is an f3.5. And with it, you can see that the Aurora was all the way around. And there's the Milky Way in the middle.
That's a cool shot. A cat's eye.
Yeah. And I have it again. And it's these were all in northern well, when you look at Alberta, it's in the center, and here we're starting to get some other colors. And I was not that far off a road, and
got a little light painting from the automobiles, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
That cost me extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same with this one.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay. How's that for color?
Yeah, that's a UFO taking off. You're not fooling us.
Okay. And
maybe stole that from a Star Trek episode or something.
Yeah. Or Thor coming to Earth. That's cool. That's really cool, David.
Yeah. And this one here, it was looking north. And this is about the same direction. It's just on September the 17th in 2017. And I had 2 cameras out that night, and they're facing different directions. And like we got lots of purple up in here.
Yeah.
And it can get to the point is that you can blow out your highlights, and it's there isn't a camera made that has enough dynamic range for this. And this is the same night. And this is the night when I was actually in Calgary. We have a large park, and it's so like I've shot from the south side of Calgary looking north, and this is the night that I found out that my D850 would focus on the trees. This shot was with my D750.
You were talking about that. I have a video where I shot night with the Z6 and the Sigma 51.4, and I actually could focus on trees that were about 200 yards away.
Yeah. So it's amazing what you can do. Okay. This is the Milky Way And I had some light painting from fireflies in here. It's most of my Milky Way shots are shot looking south, but not always. And this is my trailer, and so I'll literally camp out in a place, and I'll stay for a week or two to get them for my night photography.
Yeah, that's cool.
And okay, and this is from about the same place, and this is looking north.
Wow.
And in 2018, the Aurora wasn't that good. It was the best at 2017.
Yeah.
And this shot here is with my 850. This is my 750, and it's and I have a bit of light from some, and this is from car headlights in our campground.
Right.
Some light painting, and I found out from experience, if somebody's running around with a light, no use getting mad at them, because sometimes it makes your pictures look better.
Yeah.
And this is from the same campground. This picture was shot at 1 o'clock in the morning with a full moon.
That's great.
And you can just see how the moon can bugger you up, because the moon was actually brighter than the aurora. And I have a number. Come here. There you are. It's these shots. They were taken over a period of an hour or two, and like I'll just set up my camera with the intervalometer and leave it, and see there's the Big Dipper there.
Cool. Yeah.
And you can see how the aurora is changing, and when it starts dancing, it's all over the place. If you're wanting to make a video of this, and for a time lapse, if you're using a 2-second exposure, you're going to have to take a shot every 4 seconds, and even then it'll look like it's jumping all over the place. And here's my favorite tree again. And this is one of the ones that I shot with an Olympus. And it's a micro 4/3. It's not the best shot, but it's a hell of a lot better than nothing.
Right.
I have a friend of mine that she uses her smartphone all the time.
Yeah. Well, Tony says it's the best thing to buy now. Forget about cameras.
Well, it's a camera. But it all depends what you want for quality. You can get.
Don't tell him that. No. Don't tell him that. He's the expert.
I'll tell him that. but anyway, and then this is without the light painting. And this was with my 810A, and this is an hour and a half north of here. And I had 2 cameras out that night. I had my 850 and my 810A.
I like that, man. There you go. The purist. I got to say, you got the leading lines heading into the aurora. Actually, it is cool, though. That's cool.
Yeah. And what we did is we parked our truck in the ditch. And I had 2 cameras out, and a friend of mine, she had her camera out. So there we had 3 going. And we're all using the intervalometer. We'd be watching the aurora. And as the aurora moved, we get out and aim the cameras. Yeah.
All right, David, you got 2 minutes. I got to get up and go take a leak.
Okay. You go. I'll look after this for 2 minutes.
Yeah, you got 2 minutes. All right.
Okay. And this one here, we got the moon. and it's this was actually fairly bright this night, because I'll look at the file information here. It's 2 seconds. It's ISO 3200 f1.8, and that's well within reach of most people. And that is my last picture. But if anybody has some quick questions.
Very nice, David.
Yep.
Very nice.
I can have a look at them, and I can get out of here and let Vahagn have his say. Yep.
Very nice, David.
Yeah.
Now, what was your average? Typically your average temperature? You're telling me sometimes you're shooting at minus 40 degrees, huh?
Well, with climate change, it hasn't been that way in Calgary for the last 2 years. It's what I like to do is shoot sunrises when the temperature is minus 30 or colder, so I get the steam coming off the buildings, in the downtown. This winter, it happened once. The winter and it only got down to minus 29. The winter before, I think it happened more than once, but the coldest it got was minus 32. It's and then we used to be clear and cold in the winter here, and now we're not. So, okay. In Quebec, you do get a fair bit of the aurora. It's what I would do, Michael, if I was you, is I would go have a look at see what Space Weather Woman says, and she's on YouTube. It's for I will put up my points that I have it. And I'll try to make sure that the links are hot, so they'll be able to click on them. And it has to do with which software that you should use. On my iPad, I use Aurora Pro. They have their prediction software on that is not the same as NOAA. And it's usually better to have more than one, but have a look and see what Amethyst Gove says, because she's got she's got a video that she's going to release to the public tonight. It's probably about 2 o'clock my time, which will be 4 o'clock in the east, and she lives down near Vahagn. But and I don't know when she sleeps, because she's teaching 2 postgrad classes in the university, but she has 5 degrees in physics, so she does know what she's talking about. But so we'll just wait until Chuck comes back here. But if there's any other questions here,
there he is.
Okay, I'll get out of your hair, Chuck.
No, you're not in my hair, man. Does you guys have any questions for David? By all means, ask. Go ahead. Let's talk about it.
All I know is he's a tougher man than me when he says minus 32 isn't cold enough.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not a cold person. I'm a hot person. I like the heat. My motto is you can wipe off sweat, but you can't wipe off cold. All right. Nothing heard. No winter this year is what Robert's saying.
I got an interesting Aurora story.
Yes, sir.
Can you? Well, I was a few years back. I was in Greenland, and I had a Sony A7 Mark II. And so it was like, I don't know, what was the temperature? It was probably like minus 10 C. So I set it up and everything. And then the camera, like within 10 minutes, the battery would be gone.
Wow.
It just eat up the batteries, and I was getting so frustrated, and it got to the point where the just -10 alone took the whole camera and reset the whole thing, where I had to keep going to the menu and reset everything over and over again. So finally I said, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I took out my trusty Nikon D4S, -10, -15, and bang. I didn't change batteries for 2 days.
I think that a lot of people lose that whole concept about bigger camera, bigger battery, better performance, but
Exactly.
come on, John, you can't expect people to carry all that extra grams.
Oh, I mean, otherwise my trip would have been destroyed. I went on this old vintage, 1900s sailboat going through the Scorby Sound, for a whole week through Greenland. So the what do you call it? The Aurora was so intense,
Yeah, wow.
73 degrees north, and to be stuck there with a camera that doesn't work. Can you imagine? Be livid.
I bet.
So what you want to do is do as
Thank
much.
God for that
testing as
Nikon.
before.
Yeah.
And of course, my
Yeah.
wife had a D850, so no problem.
I got a question for David, real quick. Hey, David,
Yeah,
is my mic all right, Chuck?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you're good.
Sound like this.
yeah. I can hear you.
Hey, David, what's the rule of thumb, real quick, when you're doing like astrophotography? Tripod, what, 30-second exposure? What's your ISO?
When I shoot the Aurora, it's ISO 3200. I go f1.8 at 4 seconds.
4 seconds, 3200. It's not noisy.
Well, it depends on what you are using for a camera. It's the way that I look at it. If noise is the first thing that you see when you look at the picture, then there's something major wrong with the picture, because you got to expect noise.
If you go for a longer exposure, there'll be shift on the earth, right? So you'll get movement.
Well, if for okay, that's what I use when I shoot the Aurora. But when I shoot the Milky Way, I still only go down to about 10, 15 seconds, depending on what focal length that I use, because the Earth rotates. I don't shoot the Milky Way that much because I don't have a thing to move my camera to keep the stars in focus.
Yeah, that's
Because-
what.
yeah.
I never shot astro, so
Yeah, and I don't shoot astro either. It's when I did an estimate about how much it would cost me to get into astrophotography, and it was $3,000 to get started, and then I wouldn't be happy with that. So then I figured it would probably be closer to. I should look at $10,000 for a start, and I don't get out that much. So I didn't figure it'd be really worthwhile for me. It's much easier to shoot the Aurora.
yeah,
Yeah.
people love using that 1424 for astro. Body tracking.
Yeah, I've got a 14 to 24, and it's but it all depends on what it is that you want. I don't use my 14 to 24 for Aurora at all. I just use primes.
That's
Yeah, most of
cool.
your true astrophotography folks are shooting primes.
Hey, what's up, Jeffrey? John
What's the issue with the
Ishii?
corners they talk about all the time, looking at the stars in the corners? I guess nobody knows. Well, anyway, I know that I've hung out with some astrophotographers, and they're always talking about different lenses, which lenses are the best. You got to kind of get into that community, and with those that do it all the time, and they'll explain all that stuff. But they're always looking in the corners of the photos to see how that lens renders because, barrel distortion or pin cushion distortion or whatever.
Looking at the shape of the stars.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Are they teardropped or are they points? That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So
I was saying, what's up, Jeffrey, John Ishii? Hey, Jeffrey, congratulations on your YouTube
man.
channel, man. Chuck told me.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting.
Cool.
there it is. Aberration coma. Yep. Got it. All right. All right. Look, the chat's been going crazy since before I started. I looked over in the on my other monitor at the chat before we started, and we were already going on the Vahagn video. So sorry about that, David. I didn't mean to rush you, but I mean, if you've been watching the chat, that's what it's been all about.
Well, yeah, I did see a bit of that, and I'll just back out and.
Well, you ain't got to back out. You need to just participate with us on this now. Bayou Josh is here.
Yeah.
Hey, is that
Hey,
me on the
Josh.
screen, man?
So
put
there
me
you
on the-
go. Bayou Josh, he's pointing it out right now, the prime that somebody used. They're picky. Astrophotographers are picky about their glass.
Well, it seems like it's all 1.8, and it's either 28, 24, or 20. That seems
Yep.
to be the three lenses they talk about the most.
All
I
right.
just want to respond to Mozman quick. Mozman, get a hold of Chuck. He's got my email. We can talk. I'm available during the time frame you're talking about, and we can hook up down here in South Carolina and shoot some birds with a camera instead of a gun.
Yeah, James, they are cookies, or was a cookie. Sorry about that. Should have brought some for everybody, right?
What up, Josh? Hey, Chuck.
Sir.
I just ordered my a really good lavalier mic.
That's great, buddy.
So when I'm out and about, I got one of those Tascam 10Ls.
Yep.
Records internally, and I heard that thing is like industry standard.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't do the external recordings and then match it up, buddy. I'm all about plugging into the camera and go.
It's very easy.
Yeah. Well, that's why I have the Rode Go.
That's what I have too.
Yeah, man. I love it. All right. So just so everybody knows, I don't mean to cut you off, Vahagn, but I want to get this going, man, because the people were chomping at the bit. But since James brought up the 800 PF, that is shipping. I got who Robert Beal, are you in the house? Looking back real quick, I don't see right here. He has the 800 PF coming. All right. So they are moving. I don't know how many are going to ship, how fast or whatever, but we might have somebody in our community that'll have one soon, and he can definitely get in here and talk to us about it. So anybody else that has ordered it and has heard that it's going to be shipped, let us know. What else on the news front? Then I'm going to turn it over to you guys, and we're going to have a food fight or something here. All right. Okay, what's Mozman got to say? It's Saturday night, time to tear apart Tony. Yes. Great segue. Thank you, Mozman. I mean, everybody's been waiting to do this. Vahagn, as I told you, man, you were speaking for so many Nikon shooters and others as well. Your video is fantastic. I'm going to piggyback on it with something I want to do as well, but so everybody out there's seen it because they are talking about it. So let's get the show rolling. Where do we go? Chat room, tell us.
Well, let me just say something. Me and you, Chuck, we were going back and forth about it. I consulted with you.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it because I was a little pissed off about what I heard from Tony. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to just make a video. And I wasn't even I didn't even know if that thing will even get any views, you know? But I said I have to do this. I'm a Nikon. I have to do this, and I don't care about the blowback. So I went out and I just did it anyway. And 99.8% positive on the comments. I don't know if you guys read them, but there was some interesting conversations back and forth with Mosman, Ike, and there was a few guys in there that were, they missed the whole point of the thing. And one comment stood out to me, whereas one of these guys are like, "Oh, the soccer mom's not going to buy a Z9." Well, if you got that out of the whole damn video, then you got problems, man. Seriously. I didn't mean to say the soccer mom's going to buy a Z9. He totally missed the point. But I think you guys understood the whole point of that video. And hopefully from here on out, things will change with all these influencers out here giving Nikon a bad name and spreading lies. And I'm going to call everyone out, I'm going to call everyone out from now on. I'm not scared. I'll just do it. Like in the video, I said, I don't give a bleep, I don't care. So.
No, Vahagn, you're absolutely right. I mean, when I watched it and I saw you give your editorial, I said, it's about time, because that family, for some reason, has, I don't know what it is, commercial reasons or what, but they are just dead set and will find anything against Nikon products. I mean, even the one when Chelsea was trying to decide of the three for herself, correct? So, and then that smirk that he gives, that snide, like, what, and data that just doesn't even work. Like you said, he says, well, it'll take years for Nikon to come up to speed. Come on.
The only way it takes years is if he's been in a coma for the last year and a half.
Yeah, that pissed me off, John.
Who's he?
That pissed me off.
Who's he talking to?
Where you been, man? The Z9 is the hottest thing right now, and the Z9 actually is probably the best hybrid camera out. And the guy's talking about years when the Nikon will catch up. Like, what is up with you, man? Like, seriously, I need to have a serious conversation with you live. I don't think he has the balls to come over here and talk to me one-on-one.
Oh, he would never do that.
Tony Northrup, I'm calling you. Do you have the guts to come in on this show and talk to us one-on-one with an audience? You got balls? Come on out. Come on over, man. We're waiting for you.
The problem is all these guys that are clickbait specialists, even some that'll, that will say, yeah, the Z9's a great camera, but there's always a but. It'll be like, well, the Z9's a great camera, but it's the only good one they have. They always have to throw in a little, hand grenade after they say anything nice about the Z9, and then others just can't say anything nice about any of the Nikon cameras, including the Z9. And you just get sick and tired of it. I mean, I just don't watch those people's channels. And I saw the little snippets that you showed, and I was playing it, and my wife was hearing it because I had to speak. I had it on the phone. She says, "What are you listening to?" I says, "I'm listening to somebody who's had enough, like 99% of the rest of the Nikon owners out there, and I applaud you for what you did. It took a lot of guts, and I think it was about time somebody did it, and you were the perfect guy to do it, Vahagn. It was really good."
Thank you. And you know what? I don't watch his shit.
Exactly, Jeffrey.
I don't watch his shit. You think I watch his channel? I don't.
Yeah, I don't watch
but it was just hard to, just stand here and just listen while he bashes a camera that we're all proud of. And it just pissed me off. So, Tony Northrup, you got the balls. Show your wife that you got some balls. All right, and come on the show. Come on, man.
Yeah, man. That's probably not the best invitation to get him to come on, but I know what you mean. And I'm as frustrated as you are. Like I said in the intro, I just invite him into any live show, any live environment, whether it's you, Vahagn, or me, or somebody else, but on a live stream where what he says is now public record, and he has to show. He has to answer questions. That's the best opportunity for him to explain his position, because, as I said before, he's either lying and falsifying things like the video that somebody talked about. He did that on purpose, or he's ignorant of how to operate a camera. Now, you and I both know the answer to this, but that's the only two answers that he could give. Either, hey, I falsified using the camera in the video to make it look like it could not focus. Or he could say, I'm just stupid. I didn't know how to use the camera. It was on manual focus and I didn't realize it. But I mean, can you come up with another reason? Because the problem is he's outgunned here on the fact that there are 1,000 videos out there on YouTube right now showing how capable the focus is in video. And it's better in video, by the way, than it is in stills.
Exactly. And I'm just sick and tired of these smug, holier than thou thinking they are people that just come on here and just like snark and, like John Ishii said, and just, talk shit, lie without any blowback. My ass. Come on the show, Tony, and let's have a discussion. Me and the guys here, we're not going to use any profanity. It's going to be professional, but I want to hear why you lie. I want to hear the reasons why you say you're shit. Show some balls. Come on,
get a bleep button.
Huh?
Well, you know what?
Go ahead.
So strongly, if he feels what he said is really, really true, and he really, really feels that way, then okay, present the facts. Convince us that you're right. Show us data. Show us examples. Prove to us that you're right. Because otherwise, you're just blowing smoke up everybody's you-know-what, which is, I think, all he does.
Yeah, well, he surely sounds like he has a problem with Nikon, Bayou. Like, seriously, I'm just tired of everybody. And there's a few other influencers that I'll get on their case too. I don't really care, seriously. So come on the show. Let's talk about it. Let's hash it out. Like Chuck always says, let's hash things out.
Hey, Josh, you're absolutely right.
DP
but the
Review
thing about
gave
it
it
is
at
we're not talking to
94%.
him as much as we are talking to the people that he tries to influence. Yes, I have a very small audience, but maybe by enough of us beginning to do this, we're not talking to Tony. Honestly, I'm not, because he's not going to change what he's doing. He's doing it for the absolute reason that you mentioned. He's doing it so people talk about him. He gets a little more activity on his channel, and he's about views, and he's a YouTuber that's using it as a business. Okay, I'm okay with that. I just don't like the fact that he's bashing Nikon. That's his vehicle for more views and everything else. So I'm hoping that other people will realize it and just let him know, just like advertisers do false advertisement when people either boycott the product or the sales go down, they realize that they have to change their tune. Not that he will, but the whole point again is letting people know that are influenced by him. You might want to step back and take a moment and just see what you're being influenced by, or the person. Anyway. All right.
Well, you look at, Vahagn had Simon on from Ordinary Filmmaker the other day. Now, there's a guy who's a Canon shooter, but he gives fair evaluations of other manufacturers. Doesn't slam them, doesn't beat them up, is very fair. And I've gone to some other, sites that I don't normally go to. I've seen people who are predominantly Sony shooters that rated the Z9, and they were very impressed with it. They were honest about it. They said, hey, I may shoot Sony, but the Z9's a great camera. Or other Canon shooters that say it's a great camera. And the bottom line is they're all making great cameras now. There's no need to bash anyone. You could just call out, this guy has that feature. This other camera has this different feature. They're not all carbon copies of each other. They all have, you know, a few things different than the other.
Yeah.
But you're going
Yeah.
to get good results with them if you know how to use a camera.
So anybody sitting in the background right now that aren't commenting, that's fine. I mean, you know, I'm happy you're here. Just so you know, that's not what we do here. We don't bash the cameras. We bash the influencers, yes, for a reason, not just because it's fun or anything else. So we're all about, I'm always the first to say that, you know, the R3 is a great camera. The R5 is a great camera. The A1's a great camera. The A7 IV, you know, I'm not denying that at all. None of us are. But when you have influencers that continually pick on Nikon, and yes, it does influence people, and you know we're tired of it, and we're going to speak up about it. So, yeah, and I'll tell you right now, the R1. I've said this; these guys are sick of hearing it, but the R1 is going to be a fantastic camera. I guarantee you, it's going to blow the Z9 away. And then Nikon's going to respond. Sony's going to respond. But that's where we want to be in the photographic community, where the three majors are up here battling because we all get something from that. So,
yeah, he's like this. Look, he starts off positive, and then at the tail end of his comment, but blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is great, but blah, blah, blah. Like, come on, man.
sorry, Hassan. I didn't mean to
Vahagn,
leave you out,
he
buddy.
has it all planned. He has it planned, Vahagn.
Yeah.
You know that. He's got it all sorted out and all planned on how he's going to approach this. That's why he goes up, but it's great, but
Yeah. And then he sticks a dagger at the end. Oh, I don't think Nikon can catch up. Oh, this is why I steer people away from Nikon. Oh, well, you know what? Look, Nikon is a great company. I mean, we just get emotional because it's just not true, the things he says sometimes. And it's just, you know, we shouldn't be I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm very hot-blooded when somebody just keeps lying like that. And it's time to hold these people accountable for what they say, you know?
yes.
There's just no need about
put their feet to the fire.
do it other than trying to gain points with a certain crowd. Why are you doing it? Is it going to bump your ratings up? Is it you getting a little money on the side from the other companies, and so you feel like it's free reign to go after Nikon? I mean, you should be an impartial person. I don't care what brand of camera you shoot. You should be as impartial as you can be. Otherwise, don't talk about it at all. You don't like the camera that much, then just shut up.
You're right.
Talk about it. We don't want to hear you.
Look, we don't know the guy personally. I don't know him personally. He might be a great guy. You know, I don't know. But when it comes to this, the guy is just I don't know. The guy is just out of it. You know, he's when someone sticks a dagger on purpose and just like laughs about it, like it's just, oh man.
Well, you know, Vahagn, this is the reason I have no respect for Fro. You know, it's the reason I put the comment that I did on your interview with Fro. I'm not giving him any slack at all, buddy. You know what? He first of all, he's not somebody I'd want to hang out with. I do give him. He can do whatever he wants because he's another that is using YouTube as a form of income. That is his living, and that's okay. But if you go back to the reviews when the Z series was first launched and watching, it was sickening. And Fro was a huge part of that. Toy lenses. Do we have any toy lenses right now?
Yeah.
Nikon? No.
Jared Polin has this thing. He starts off the title great, but at the end he sticks a little dagger. Oh, but they're still behind. Oh, but they're this. Oh, but they're that. You know what, Jared Polin? You know, I want to say what I want to say, but I respect your show too much.
Thank you, buddy. So, yeah, you know, and look, he's not a bad person, okay? I don't know what he is like in his personal life, but he did give us a glimpse. So I can't call him out on that. But the way he treats Nikon, it's like, I told you this the other night, Vahagn. It's like a reformed smoker They are the absolute worst people to be around.
Yep.
Because they constantly complain about everybody smoking as if they never did. You know, he was a Nikon shooter. Tony and Chelsea shot Nikon. They're just reformed Nikon shooters now, and they do nothing but bash it. Why? I don't know. What do they have against Nikon? Why can't they give Nikon the same shake that they give everything else? If you're going to call out a bad point, that's fine, but do it on every camera brand out there. And that is the part they miss. They never do that. If they mention it, they just gloss over it and they're gone. If they talk about it with Nikon, they're going to just pound it into the ground about how terrible Nikon is. One card slot. Well, the R came out. One card slot. A little mention, failed card, done. No more issue with Canon. So that's my point with these guys. I am just... I'm just tired of it too. And if you go back and you said you watched some, I got rid of a bunch of the videos. You go back 4 years ago, 4 years ago, I made some videos and it was all about this very same subject that nobody agreed with me on. I was just being a fanboy. So, all right.
They're great videos. I like them.
Well, when he started talking about the screen on the back and, making it out like it's an erector set, basically.
Yeah, a screw with the metal and
talking
this
about
and that.
flippy screens. How you do a survey, how many pro bodies from any brand have had flippy screens? Why isn't it that they don't all have flippy screens? Okay? It's just, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna do vlogging and you're gonna look at yourself on a Z9. I mean, seriously.
Hey, Jeffrey, it's just a screw with some metal.
Oh yeah. I think he's missing a few screws somewhere else.
You know what? Even he doesn't believe what he's saying there. He knows it's a flagship camera. So the whole point of, the flippy screen thing has killed me forever. I don't care. Nikon can put flippy screens on everything, but keep them off of the flagship, And the other thing, my point on flippy screens is, because this goes right back to Tony, is how far away can you see that little screen? Arm length, right? So it's a vlogger's tool. That's it. Is the Z9 a vlogger's camera? No. Unless you're, what's his name? Shoot, I can't think of him right now. The big YouTuber shoots Canon. Anyway, why does he bring it up? Because it's another way to jab Nikon. And again, he does it on purpose. I am absolutely certain of that. And I would invite him on, to any live stream, anybody, just to talk about these things and try to prove his point there and make a public statement instead of an edited statement. So
if you can come on and give me reasons why you said that, then you win, bro. That's all I got to say. But until then, you have a lost case, man. And the thing is, let me ask you guys a question. Before the firmware update, how many of the features did you guys know about that Nikon promised?
Hey, only the 12-bit NRAW and AK60p.
That's it, right?
That's it.
What about the other 35 things?
Nothing. Crickets.
Exactly.
Crickets.
But yet we paid for it and we knew about it and they promised. My behind, man. Man, this pisses me off.
No.
But when it comes to
How
a
does he
flippy
figure that we
screen,
paid for it?
I bought an adapter from Amazon for $14 that does the exact same thing. Yeah, no, well, there's that, but I got a mirror that fits on the top of my camera. Okay, you got a phone call, Chuck? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to put the number up here so those that want to call in can. Go ahead.
Like I said, I got this adapter that fits on the top of my camera. I flip out my screen. I can look in this mirror. That's all it is. And I can see my screen. So I can tell what I'm doing. And it cost me $14. It doesn't come out in the side. It comes out in the top. So what?
Yeah. Look, a lot of guys, they miss the point. The point is, I get a lot of guys saying, just don't watch. It's not about me. It's about everyone else. It kills the market. It affects Nikon. It affects the development of Nikon. Less sales, they lose. Every sale they lose, it affects their future, and they're just missing out. And I want to put a stop to it. There's so much misinformation. And one guy pointed out that a lot of these guys that are switched are really heard about it, that Nikon is kicking butt, that they regret they switched, and they're just talking negative about Nikon. It's like buyer's remorse or seller's remorse.
I mean, the only thing I think we would all agree with Nikon is you need to, and Chuck, you've talked about it 100 times, and this will be 101, is you got to get that Z8 out, baby. You got to,
yes.
shut up the critics that say, oh, the Z9 is the only one that has good autofocus, blah, blah, blah. Get the Z8 out at an affordable price point, kick some butt once again, and you know what? Then they all have to shut up after that.
Or, then I quit listening to them anyway, because that'll take care of everything that we're talking about. And Nikon settles in where it should be recognized right now, as it's recognized as one of the major manufacturers. And, I think we get back to a more peaceful world. But as James said, haters will be haters. They're always going to be haters. So that's just the way it is. But I think I do this more now to try to maybe even convince Nikon, let's get going. You're going to lose this momentum. It's going to go away. And now's the time to really capture your share of the market as you should. All right.
How about that? How about that example?
Open, folks. Anybody wants to call in and actually talk about whatever comment or question you have, just give us a call on the phone line. You see it there at the bottom of the screen. All right, go ahead, Vahagn.
How about that autofocus example he showed with Chelsea in the background? Like, what
That's
kind
what
of
we're talking about? He had it on manual focus when he did it, and he didn't know it.
What kind of sorry example is that? I mean, I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. And I think, you know what? These guys, Jared Polin, the Chelsea channel or Potoni channel, these guys. Let me give you guys an example of who they look at. Guy, what's the guy that has 5 million subscribers? What's his name? Canon guy. Who am I thinking about, Chuck?
I'm trying to think of it earlier. McKinnon, Peter McKinnon.
Look at him. Okay, guy has 5 times more subscribers than these guys, but does he ever come out and bash other camera manufacturers? Have you ever heard him bash others?
No.
Yeah. What a great!
And he's
example.
the only guy that's actually vlogged with he vlogged with a 1DX2 or 3 or something. I don't know. He's at least man enough to do that.
Yeah, but he didn't do it for a long time.
No, I know, but hey, put a flippy screen on that flagship so we can all walk around with it at arm's length.
They see him, they always poke jabs at him sometimes, They always poke jabs, like especially Jared. Like, it's just funny,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with pointing out differences in cameras and then prefacing something by saying, this is my opinion. I think this feature is a little bit better than so-and-so, and hopefully they'll put that on their camera the next time, or they'll update their firmware to do this next time. All that kind of talk is fine. I mean, there are differences, but there's just no room and should be no tolerance for just beating any camera manufacturer to death. I mean, it's just totally wrong. And he is in the minority. I mean, he really is. All the reviews on the Z9, and I'll tell you, I just put the new firmware update in the other day. I was going to wait like a week, and I said, I'm going shooting on Friday. I want the new firmware in there, and I haven't tried out all the features, but the few that I did, I see a marked improvement, and I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, I think nothing to complain about.
Good point, Charles. Good point, buddy.
Hey, Chuck, can I ask Vahagn a question?
Please.
Hey, Vahagn, how did you initially contact Poland, and how did you get him on the show?
Well, I think. Let me remember. Okay, I left him a comment on his latest video. As soon as it dropped, as soon as that latest video went live or dropped, I left a comment because I know once a video goes live, the author reads the first comments. It's just natural to be on there. So I said, for sure he's going to read this. I left him a message saying, "Hey, brother, we'd love, we'd love to have you on." No. Sorry, I remember now. Who wants to see Jared Polin on my live show? Hit the like button or something like that. So everybody started hitting the like button, and I guess I was trending on his comments because the more likes you get, I guess it brings you to the top. So he commented and said, I guess he had an issue with us going live before talking about him. Who's his sidekick? The guy that edits his videos? Steven. Steven was watching our live show, me, Frames, and one of the other, Ryan Troy. Oh, no, Ike, where we really hammered him on one of our live videos. So I guess Steve got wind of this and showed Jared. So Jared was all flustered. You guys remember Frame's video on Jared Polin?
Yes.
You remember that video? Well, he goes off on Jared on that video, right?
Yep.
And he, I guess, got pissed off about that. And we were talking about it. And then he got wind of that live stream. I listened to it. And he said, okay, I'll do your show only if Ike comes on. Because he had a bone to pick with Ike. So I go, sure, let me see if he'll do it. I emailed him. He emailed me, and he came on. So,
yeah, you got to give him kudos for that. He had the guts to come on. We'll see if Tony does.
Yeah, I mean, I invited him. I emailed him 2-3 times. So I don't know, nothing yet. So that's how I got him. That's how I got him to come on. And it was a great chat.
Yeah, it was a good show.
It was a good show. It was, the Frames went at it. Ike went at it with them. Commented about that video. Ike's like, "Oh, are you gonna rescind that video now? That review on the 51.2?" He's like, "No, why should I do that?" Well, because you talk crap about the Z6 too. So that's how it happened.
All right, we're getting a little heated over here in the comments about Fuji GFX, Phase 1, or Hasselblad. Look, I think that GFX camera is a great camera. A lot of people love it. It's probably more suited for those that shoot with DSLRs or are used to shooting with DSLRs, and it is a great camera. Well, let's make no mistakes. It's not a full medium format camera. Hasselblad and Phase 1 are still fantastic cameras for what they're used for. And it's just a matter of picking the one that you want. If you can afford one of the, two premiums, the Hasselblad or the Phase 1, then good on you. If you can't, you have something somewhat comparable. Okay. And don't get mad at me because that's the facts. The GFX 100 or the 50, both good cameras. A lot of people like the 50 over the 100, as a matter of fact, not knocking either. Fujifilm.
I got both of them.
There you go. And yes, the price is a whole lot cheaper for the Fujifilm, but that doesn't make it better than. It just makes it a better buy than, okay? And I'm not taking up for anybody or any camera here, but those are the facts. All right. On with the Tony Vahagn story.
One thing I want to add about that, when you put pressure on somebody to come on a show and clarify the record, and you see that all your viewers are for it, there's no other choice but to come on. So, if you don't come on, how does that make you look? Right?
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. And, like Josh and everybody was saying earlier, the one thing, and I'll quit this as soon as Nikon comes out with that next camera, then you know what? I'll let them say what they want, because I think that the next camera, the Z8, when I say next camera, when the Z8 comes out, I think they all shut up quite a bit. and they'll just make fools of themselves if they continue to pound Nikon, because everybody's waiting for the Mini Z9 right now. People in other brands are waiting for that camera. Not that they're going to switch, but they may add two. But they're all waiting to see what that camera is going to be like. All right. Yeah. As a matter of fact, there were some people that were complaining on one of the threads on the video that DP Review did. Chris and what's his name? Whatever. Talking about, why no talk about the Canon R5? Why no talk about the Canon R5C? And I understand how they feel. That's how I feel when Nikon doesn't get a nod whenever they're talking about cameras. But the truth of the matter was that those cameras don't compete with the Z9. And I don't think that Canon ever expected them to compete with the Z9. But Canon will have a camera that competes with the Z9. So this is across the board, all shooters. Earlier, Josh and Roy were talking about the camera's just a tool. Yes, it is. But why do you buy Nikon? If it's just a tool, why don't we just go find the cheapest thing we can find and shoot with it? We buy it because we're passionate about something about that brand, okay? You can't take that away, and I don't want to take that away. That's what makes the world go around. That's why there's Ford, Chevy, Mazda, Nissan, whatever. You buy what you like, okay? Yes, it is a tool, but the passion it has to be added to the equation. All right, I'll shut up now.
Hey,
Back
John.
to you guys.
Hey, John, if you want to leave a comment on someone in the chat, I think you have to do it on the YouTube stream.
What's that?
If you're talking to someone in the chat and you leave a comment on the restream, they won't see it. Oh. You'd have to be on YouTube and leave a comment, because you were asking James, are you a guitar guy? Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to see a guitar.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, moving on.
All right, somebody pick up the phone. We want to hear your voice.
Yeah,
Call us, talk to us, tell us what you really think.
Hey, Vahagn, what's your next video going to be?
Oh, I know, right? Regular programming.
Regular programming.
I don't know, man. I just, you know what? I might have did something wrong. I shouldn't have, maybe, but I don't know. I feel good about it. Someone's got to take one for the team, right? Hey, man, I don't even have I'm not getting paid from Nikon. I'm not. My uncle doesn't own the company, you know. But I just like the brand, you know.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, hang on a second. Let me make sure we're good to go here. All right, go ahead. Oh, can't hear you.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
What you doing, buddy?
Go ahead, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I turned my volume down, so I don't know if anybody else can hear me, but I had to jump in on this whole Tony thing. I watched that several times, and I didn't feel the same way until I watched Vahagn's video and then went back and watched Tony's video. I mean, talk about spinning the narrative a little bit there. And let me tell you why I say that, because Tony's been shooting with that Nikon and that Sony and that Canon, and I've recently been shooting with a Sony a lot. And just today, I'm telling you, I put that Nikon down and I picked that Sony up just because the autofocus was working better in certain conditions. And not only that, I grade the video from the Nikon Z9, the Z6, the A7 IV, and the easiest freaking files to edit for me are that S-Log Sony files. They just look better when I'm done with the video. So I love my Nikon. I love my Z9. I love that new media stuff they put on there for the N-Log. I love the way it color grades. I'm not going to buy anything from Nikon again until they come out with something equivalent to what that Z9 is doing for video or photo. And I'm telling you, it's easy to say that Z6 II is fantastic. It's easy to say that the Z7 II is great. But those guys, Tony included, they've been using that Sony. They've been using the A7 III for a long time, and they pick up that Z6, and it feels like a piece of crap after you use an A7 IV or an A7 III. That's just a fact, guys. I mean, I'm not trying to sugarcoated. I used the guy's R5 for a while. I felt sick going back to my Z6 II. I mean, I absolutely felt sick going back to my Z6 II. And then I try to justify it like, yeah, well, eye autofocus isn't that important. But once you have it and once you use that stuff, I have to agree with guys like Tony. You know, that Z9 is fantastic. It's nearly $6,000. It's $5,600, and you can't get it, right? You can go pick up an A7 IV that's 98% of the performance right now for $2,500. And I'm not saying that just to start a fight. I have both of them sitting on the passenger seat right now, and I can't say that he's wrong in that sense. I would almost tell somebody, if you can't get that Z9, hold off for a while, go grab you a couple of little Sony A7 IVs, and you're going to be pretty damn happy.
Yeah.
That's my.
No, I agree with you, Josh. Hence my continuing to rattle Nikon's cage about the Z8 or the A7 III or the A6 III, whatever they're going to be. They have the technology now, and you're absolutely right. They need to get it out there. One, they shut down all the naysayers, and two, you know, they're going to be happier. The customer base is going to be happier. So, no, I don't necessarily disagree with you, buddy.
Well, his hate was more towards the Z9.
Well, it's not so much the hate towards the Z9. I think what it is, and I can't stress this enough, it is the fact that when you have all of them in your hand, and yeah, you can pick up that Z9 immediately and be like, yep, pro body, everything's fast, 20 frames per second. But then you go back and you realize, okay, the A1 has all this stuff, and it does. Okay, other than their new stuff that they put out, the 60 frames per second for 8K and you know, the oversampling and the in-log. But I'm going to tell you, Sony probably within 6 weeks is going to drop some sort of firmware to get pretty damn close on all that with their A1. So that top level, I agree. Everything is super close. But the moment you step down from a Z9, Nikon looks like garbage compared to everything else. And I'm talking specifically video files and usability. You know, everything takes good pictures now. I'm going to be honest. Everything you get in your hands takes some pretty damn good pictures right now. But when you get into those video and the complexities of editing all those files and working with them, it's like, remember it was such a big deal that Nikon Z6 II could now record externally the RAW, the 10-bit RAW onto your Atmos 9.
Right.
And Nikon went out and grabbed every influencer they could to throw an Atmos on top of their Z6s. Sony's doing that 10-bit 422 and S-Log inside their cameras, which is almost the same thing as that 10-bit RAW that they're sending out. So I don't know. The whole point is, and I'm not going to beat on it too much, is they've been using those other cameras. And that's why when they see that Z9, they're like, yeah, it's good. But they've been using that other stuff for the last 4 years. Nikon caught it.
Hey, Josh, I'll agree with you, but let me throw a caveat in here. 90% of the people, I shouldn't say 90%, I don't know what the percentage is. People won't be shooting in RAW anyway, or any other profile. They're going to shoot 264, 8-bit in-camera video for what they're doing, vlogging, this, that, whatever. Fewer people will be shooting in any other format, like a C-Log or in-log or in RAW or whatever. Yes, there will be people that want to shoot in that. But, when he's talking about this stuff, he needs to clarify then. If you're a cinematographer, if you're somebody that really wants, the most you can get out of your camera and video performance then. And if he were to make that statement, will you agree with this? If he made that statement and then said, I couldn't steer you towards Nikon now, do you think that would have been a fair statement to make? Should that have been something he said? Yeah.
I mean, but let's be real. I mean, he can say, if you like shooting with RAW, I don't know. I mean, I think it's splitting hairs, because who would go buy a camera that doesn't shoot RAW images, right? And look, video now. People are shooting video, and if you can get the good video and you're color grading it and it's easier for you, get the camera that's easier to work with.
Absolutely. I agree
you
with
to make
you.
that statement, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I just think that, to make that general statement is what makes us a little bit angry about it. To say that Nikon doesn't have the capability and they won't for a few years. If he would have, if he had said before he made that statement, Nikon will not have that capability in a affordable camera for another 2 or 3 years, that I could live with. But
yeah,
to make that,
I understand that verbiage is important. I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
So, but do I hate the guy? No, I definitely dislike some of his comments. And Josh, you have to add it all up and go back years, which I know you've been watching him, and I feel that for the longest time he's had this vendetta for Nikon. Yes, he's hit the nail on the head sometimes, no doubt about it. But it's just, again, the way you go about making the statements. So I'm not disagreeing with you.
Can I give you guys a secret why people get vendettas against Nikon?
Why?
And y'all aren't going to like this.
Go ahead, buddy.
They suck for influencers. I mean, they could give a damn about the influencers. And the crazy thing is, the person that's the loudest and the angriest about Nikon is usually the one that gets the camera, like Fro.
Yeah.
So that might be why he's changing his narrative. Maybe that's why he's bad mouthing them now.
Yeah,
maybe
you're right, brother. And no, you don't offend me. You're not making me mad. And I don't disagree. We talk about that constantly, about Nikon needs real influencers out there. They can't get them overnight, but they need to be talking to people, and they need to get away from the 40 plus people in their, that buy Nikon, because let's face it, that's where the most of their buyers are, 40 plus.
Oh yeah.
And Nikon has stuck to their guns on being a stills camera forever. First to have video in a DSLR, and they just let that go by. Why? Because the stills people yelled and complained. Why am I paying for something I don't use? So yeah, Nikon's got a long way to go. And as you know, I know I've been bad mouthing Nikon on their marketing and their communication for a long time. But I'm also, upset with the fact that they don't draw any young people into the brand. They do nothing to attract the younger shooters. Now they found out that hybrid cameras are what sell cameras, and they're beginning to perk up in what they're putting in the cameras with video and everything else. I think that they're going to hit the mark at some point, but I agree with you, that yes, the A7 IV, A7S III, everybody loves the video, especially those that are willing to go the extra mile and shoot in RAW or log or whatever. And in-log is terrible, by the way, from what I hear from most people that try shooting in it.
Well, I'm going to find that out tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a bunch of files that I'm about to download and start editing, and it looked good on the back of the camera. So
yeah, well,
now that works. Once you put it in Premiere Pro and you see how much it slows your computer down, and things are jaggedy and you can't get things to scrub through.
But then again,
you go right back to the Sony and it works perfect.
But that's the thing that nobody's talked about. I don't know that they care to, again, which is why I tend to believe that they do it on purpose. But in RAW, different from in log, of course, in RAW, half the size of ProRes RAW. And I think that's through their brokering a deal with Tico RAW that helped them to do that. I don't know that for a fact. It's just a guess. But let's see how that pans out as well. And what's going to trickle down into the next body? And let's face it, everybody's waiting for the R5 equivalent in Nikon, which is why I just can't stop talking about that. And that's what Nikon needs to do soon. But yeah, man, I agree with you, and I appreciate you calling, and hang on the line.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Hey, Josh.
Go ahead, Vahagn. I can barely hear you, but go ahead. I'm going to try to put my headphones on and listen to.
I have a question. How much of what I had what I had problems with do you agree or disagree on? All the points that I made regarding that video, Do you agree with me or do you disagree?
Wait, say that again. Okay, for some reason I can't hear it through the phone and it lags on YouTube.
I said all the points I made in that video. How many of the points do you agree with me? How many do you not agree with me specifically?
Well, listen, Vahagn, you and I are good friends, buddy, and I did feel like it was splitting hairs a couple of times, and you know, I mean, it comes down to things like, you know, yeah, it's not a vlogging camera and all that good stuff, and yeah, they promise certain things on a certain day, you know, at day one, but yeah, I know, I get inside a guy like Tony's head, and I know what he's thinking. He's like, all right, the first half of that video, he was kissing Nikon's ass. Let's be real. It was all nice, good stuff. And he's like, I don't want to sound like a fanboy here. So he throws in 3 or 4 bad things at the end of it, you know, and that's just the way I saw it. And I thought you did you definitely vetted out the stuff that he, you know, it's almost like he just kind of was stretching to find things to talk about bad. And
no, man, I specifically pointed out that, look, you did say some positive things. I did say that, but here's what you got wrong. Nikon did not promise us everything. You say that Nikon needs years to catch up as a hybrid camera. Totally wrong. They're already here. And you got to agree with me. I'm not talking about the Z6 II. He's specifically talking about the Z9.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, once again, I just want to point to the fact that he has been using all those other products, and specifically the Sony A1 and the Sony A7 IVs. Their autofocus is still just as good or better at times than the Z9 is. As fantastic as the Z9 is. And look, I'll point to that today. Today, I was photographing sandhill cranes, and repeatedly in video, the Sony outperformed the Z9 almost every time. So I kept putting down the Z9, picking up the Sony to get video. So there's just things that they lag in. And he's probably thinking about that stuff too, because he's passing each one of those cameras through his hands, and he sees it. He sees it. So I'm not faulting that you're saying anything that wasn't true, because I felt like he was reaching a little bit. But I still have to remember that those guys are using every one of those cameras.
Yeah, well, he made it sound like the Nikon's not there yet, and this and that, and you know, every time you go out and shoot, the conditions might not be optimal. You know, you might get some sun flare, you might get some busy background, or you know, you just never know. It's not really scientific. But I think the Z9 does a great job in video. Like it's amazing, you know, and it's just as good. I think. I didn't bash Sony. I didn't bash Canon. I praised them equally. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Josh, that until Nikon comes out with a Z8, or what do you want to call it, a Z6 III, Z7 III, Z8, one or all of the above. Yeah, I mean, the A7 IV, A7 III, are better cameras than for the type of photography you and I do with the birding and whatnot. There's no doubt in my mind at all. And I didn't have, other than a Panasonic Lumix, kit lens camera that I bought for go see my kids in Connecticut, and I didn't want to bring all my heavy gear with me or my big gear with me on the plane. Other than that, I held off on buying any Nikon mirrorless camera until I felt that something came out that was going to be equal to or better than my D850. And the Z9 was it. Now, it was at a price point that was a stretch for me, but I did it. But I agree. I mean, but when I did look at Sony's, I did hold Sony's, and I'm not knocking their performance or what they do, but for me, I was used to a bigger size body. I like having more buttons on a body to program functions where I can easily reach them. I like the ergonomics better. My fingers were getting pinched between the grip and the lens on Sony's. So from an ergonomic standpoint, it didn't work for me. But I'd be a fool to knock the performance of their cameras. But then when you buy a camera, you have to look at everything. You're looking at what do they have for lenses? What are the quality of the lenses? How does it feel in your hand? How's the button layout? How's the menu layout? So, there's a lot of factors, but I think they make great cameras, and I'm not going to knock them for that. And I will knock Nikon like Chuck does and say, time to get the ball rolling on, improving get the Z8 out there and do some other improvements with firmware or whatever on some of the other cameras and move them up as best you can, but they're not going to be Z9 capable.
Yeah, well, we've been saying this for a long time. The bottom line is the Z9 is fantastic. Okay, understanding that it has its faults as well, but everybody likes the Z. Not everybody, but Z9 seemed to be a great camera. Okay, let's face it. Everywhere it's getting rave reviews. My point is that Nikon can't live on that.
No.
They just can't do it.
Exactly.
They have to move on. And this is why, I get shot down over in Nikon rumors all the time, trying to bring this up and, blah, 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 blah. Again, the over 50 crowd over there rules the roost. They're running Nikon. And if it was up to them, there'd be no such thing as video in a camera. But anyway,
look,
absolutely. But the thing is that Nikon has to get this next body out. They have to.
The A1, I used the A1 with the 600 with Mossman, and it performed just as good as the Z9. I'll be honest with you. The Z9 did a great job as well. I had the 600 on the Z9. Now I'm not using a native 600 on my Z9, but the guy was using an A1 with a native 600 f4. To me, I didn't really like the EVF. Look, everybody keeps talking about autofocus. Why is autofocus the only thing people judge a camera on? Like, there's so many more features that the Z9 has that's, in my opinion, far superior than the competition. And the autofocus is very, very close. Very close.
Yeah, you know what, Long Rider, you're absolutely right. And I think the A9 is what really got the ball rolling in the AF department and everything else. I think people were a little just not as happy with the A9 II as they wanted to be, but the A1 definitely came out and picked up the slack. And so, yeah, I agree with you. And you know what? I hats off to Sony for, their development and all this. But that's still, the whole point of this conversation is about whether Tony gives us a fair shake or not.
Hey, Chuck, if I can say one thing and I'll get off here. I just want to speak to what Jeffrey said.
Yes, sir.
Jeffrey is absolutely right. You put a Nikon in your camera. You put a Nikon camera in your hand and go over to a Sony. The ergonomics of a Nikon is hands down the best out there, period. There's no arguing about that. And then I'm going to answer Hank's question, who's asked it 3 times now, it looks like. What is it about the autofocus? When you're in video mode and you are focused on something out in the field and you're an AF full, what happens is the Nikon will hunt between, different contrasts. And I had it on a brown sandhill crane, and there were brown bushes all out in the field, and it would grab a brown bush, then it'd go back to the sandhill crane, then it would go back to the background, then back to the sandhill crane. Then I picked up that Sony A7 IV. It found the face, and look, with a lens that had 100 less millimeters, it grabbed the focus and stayed on it the entire time during video. So just like what who was that said he shoots the A9 and it just doesn't miss focus?
Yeah,
I'm starting to feel
that was
about
Long
that.
Rider. Yeah.
So anyway, guys, thank you for letting me pontificate for a minute. I appreciate it, Chuck.
No, man, you're always welcome in here. And you know what? We're going to kick you out one of these days and bring Katie in because
it's better company. I promise you.
No, seriously though. No, thanks for calling in. And you know what? You kind of make me refocus when you do that. And I appreciate that. I have to reevaluate. Okay, wait a minute. What am I saying here? So thanks, Josh.
Sounds good. You guys have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right.
Yeah, have a good night, Josh.
Hey, I got a question for Josh. If he's listening, if he could put it in the comments. When he's shooting birds, when he's shooting steels and birds, what is his go-to AF mode? Does he have it on 3D, and does he have it on auto detect or animal detect? What's his focus? What's his focus settings when he's shooting stills? What does
Okay. He said he's still listening, so I guess he'll drop it in the comments here. Good.
Yeah, I want to know because I'm still getting to know my Z9 settings, so I want to, he shot more birds than me, and he knows.
Yeah.
So. What's your go-to though? Like, what do you do you box it? Do you group it? And do you put it on auto detect or 3D and the Z9 is best?
I put it on the specific animal detect, not the auto mode.
Right.
Supposedly is better if you dumb it down to the exact thing you're shooting at. And then I use the large area wide on one button to pick up a bird coming towards me. And then depending on if it's a bird in flight, I'll switch from that to 3D tracking, and I'll alternate between the two as needed. And
wait a minute, you say you switch it to animal? There you shoot specific, you can choose like bird or cat?
Yeah. Well, no, I put it on the animal,
No, it's just animal.
It's just that.
Yeah, you can't choose bird or cat.
Okay, all right.
I don't put it on auto where the camera's deciding if it's a person or an animal or a car. I put it on the animal. I put it on my back button autofocus mode is wide area large. I start that way. Then I switch to 3D if the subject's in motion. If the subject's stationary, I might just I have my function button on the far function button on my lens set for single point autofocus. So sometimes if the bird's just sitting in one spot, especially if it's in a thicket, there's a lot of branches, I'll focus on the eye using single point mode and kind of do it the old fashioned way. So I'm always switching between really those three modes. I mean, I don't use the full, AFF very much. I mean, it's either 3D, wide area large, but I do have buttons set up for dynamic as well. I mean, you never know. Something isn't hitting right or reacting right. You got to be able to switch to something else.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, it's really close, but autofocus is not the only thing we look at, but it's really close. It's just going to get better from here on out. And also, put a Nikon native Z lens and see how it performs as well.
Yeah.
Hey, just want to say welcome in here, Ronald. Good to see you in here. I know you're a busy man. Thanks for joining us here.
Yeah. Well, I don't think autofocus is I think the people who talk about autofocus a lot, I hate to say it, is people like me who are shooting fast moving subjects. I could care less if I was doing portraits and I was doing mostly stationary subjects. I mean, I would put it on single point autofocus all day long and I wouldn't have a problem with that. But when I had the D850, its 3D tracking stunk. It was horrible. So I was moving the camera to follow the bird. And it's so nice to be able to have the point track the bird now and do it accurately. And they have made improvements to the 3D autofocus. Haven't finished my opinion on that yet, but what I see so far I really like, because I had a very small bird and it went to the eye and the focus point shrank. So it was just on the eye, was not on the head of this small bird at all. It actually shrunk down to the eye. It was phenomenal. So, I mean, that was an improvement right there. So I look forward to trying out more things.
When I was shooting surfing, that thing was just on, birds. Yeah. But people, they cut through the water like cheese. Like it just focused right on the eye. Okay, they could tweak a little bit the autofocus system. That's fine. But what about all the other stuff that we get with the Z9?
Yeah.
What about the speed, the colors out of the box, ergonomics, just everything else, the EVF, the feel of the camera, all that stuff is important too. If I'm a little behind with autofocus, I don't mind. But when I'm shooting people in sports situations, that thing just nails it 9 out of 10 shots.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when it came out, at first when it came out, I said I don't expect it to be better than the A1. I'd be happy if it was 90%, because in my mind, I felt you get it 90%, I can live with that for a while, because I have full confidence you're going to come out with a firmware upgrade. You're going to have a lot more users using the camera. You're going to get a lot more comments on what they like, what they don't like, and then you're going to fix it when you come out with a firmware upgrade. Now they just came out with a firmware upgrade. So they've done their job, and they'll continue to come out with firmware updates. So I don't have any issues at all, confidence-wise, shooting with this camera now for what I do. But now I know people that owned Z7 2s and Z6 2s who loved it for sunrise shots and landscape photography and portraits and everything else, which is what 80% of the average Joe is shooting. Is that they're not all shooting wildlife and race cars and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and
but
it's fine.
I'll tell you right now that even if the autofocus was a little behind Sony, I'd still pick the Nikon every single time, because everything else outweighs,
Oh yeah,
to me, what the Sony does. And for me, number one is the lenses. Number two is the ergonomics. Autofocus behind, they'll tweak it, they'll fix it.
Yeah.
But Mozman, he'll back me up on this. Mozman will back me up on this. Hey, Mozman, surfing, didn't it do a great job? Like, maybe I was doing something wrong with the birds, man. But sports shooters, that thing's amazing.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's everything. It's ergonomics. It's color science. It's what you're getting, and look at what you're getting for the money. What you're getting for the money, and then they have the widest flange mount of any of the other brands. So as long as their engineers optimize the lenses to take advantage of that wide flange mount, then theoretically their lenses should be better than anybody else's because of the design of the body. And so far, most people, when they're reviewing, say, the trinity of lenses on a Z mount versus the trinity of lenses on the other manufacturers, most reviewers have said the Nikon lenses are better.
Yeah, and that's very important. Hey, Ronald, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Ronald. Hey, what is this? Chuck, touch up on what Ronald's saying right here on the screen.
He's just saying you got peeps like Seth Miranda saying the same things that Vahagn is saying about the Z9 being level, same level as the A1. Let's see.
For everything else. Oh no.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah. Seth, Matt, and Photo Me Ike. So Photo Me Ike is in the house. So Photo Me Ike can jump in here as well. But
Dude,
thanks, Ronald. Thank you, buddy.
I'm telling you, Photo Me Ike. I'm telling you, man. That A1. I mean, that Z9 was on par.
Yeah.
When doing humans. I mean, I can tell you. But hey, even if they're behind, they'll fix it. But they're not behind years. Come on.
No.
Years.
What are they behind? One firmware.
It's going to take years to catch up as being a hybrid contender. You think that's like, man.
That's what we were talking about, with Josh. If he had worded it differently, maybe it would have come across differently. But I've seen so much from him that I just feel like there is a bias. However, Josh brought up some valid points, but I'd like to see him preface his comment with, this is my opinion, or, hey, for those that want to use more capable video, being raw, shooting raw, this, that, whatever. I couldn't recommend any other camera right now in Nikon's lineup other than the Z9 or something like that, or whatever. It just,
But Hank, I think yeah, fine, autofocus, but is Josh going to be happy with colors out of the camera with the Sony?
Well, if you're shooting raw, that's one of the things. It's no longer an issue. You know, you're going to color grade it anyway. You don't have a choice, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, you put you're going to have to tweak your presets a while and get it the way you want it, and then you can deal with it. But
I don't know. I think
Nikon is so good out of the camera. It's like it's stupid
I
crazy.
have an opinion. I have an opinion on Sony files versus Nikon files, and that opinion is the Sony files look a little more digitized to me versus the Nikon files, which look a little film like, which I like that.
Yeah, and you know, and my point too is that not everybody's going to shoot video and color grade or even color correct. Color correct is what everybody does, by the way. Color grading is a whole different issue or a whole different thing. But most people just want to shoot. And you know, when I had Frame Voyager on, I said, "Well, what should I do?" He says, "For YouTube and whatnot, I wouldn't do anything. I would
yeah.
shoot 264, right?
Hey,
Bring it right out of camera and slap her on the screen because the difference isn't going to be all that great."
hey, Chuck, let me
Yeah.
bring you up something that everybody glosses over when it comes to Sony. I've had so many videographers bust their cameras on set.
Mm-hmm.
Tripod hits it, nugs it a little bit, and the camera stops working, gives us error message. Those Sonys, some of them, I don't know. The Nikons to me are built better, and that's
No,
important.
you know what? I think that if you got an honest Sony shooter, I think that they would agree on a couple of things. One, the ergonomics aren't fantastic, but there's something about it, you know, in the camera's capability that they love. Okay, got that. And they'd also probably agree, if they were honest, that it's not as robust or it doesn't even feel as robust as a Nikon camera.
And I got a story for Josh. We're in Palm Springs. It was 112 degrees, shooting a wedding. The videographer was using an A7S2, 3, something like that. And the camera would not turn on because it was in the sun, sitting in the grass with 112-degree weather. Without even using the camera would not turn on. It was too hot. What happens to my Z6? I have the original Z6, turns on, works like a charm. I'm even doing video for him. Hey, he's like, "Can you borrow your Z6? You got your D4. Can I shoot with your Z6? Because my camera's not turning on." I'm like, "Sure, go for it." What does the guy do? Uses my Z6 to shoot the park shots at 112 degrees. Z6 original. Okay, the autofocus is not that great. Fine. Or better than the Sony A7S III. At least my camera works and turns out at 112 degrees, man. That camera is unusable. The guy can't use it. There you go.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right, Vahagn. I think, though, the big discussion is going to be, you know, something we said before. AF is the thing now. No matter what, you know, you can build any camera you want. You could build a crappy camera, terrible colors and everything else, but have the best AF. And guess what? It's going to get all the praise because that's where it's at right now.
What good is AF if it doesn't turn on?
You don't need to argue the point with me. I agree with you. But my point is that is what it takes out there right now. We knew this back before the Z9 was announced, that was the big debate. And you have to have AF, which is why I keep saying Nikon has to step it up in the AF department if they want to sell cameras, because everybody's fixated on it. And some rightly so. You saw the comments I put up here a minute ago, like Josh shoots birds and wildlife. He relies on AF. That's more important to him than a whole lot of things. And I understand that. Somebody that doesn't shoot anything but, still life or whatever, it's not a big deal to them. And maybe color's more important and they're willing to go that route. So yeah, I Nikon is doing it. They are doing it.
I agree.
Ergonomics,
dependability. What's most
I-
important changes with the wind, though, Chuck. You know what I mean? Because
you're right.
You know, it's either what's most important. Camera's got to be small and light. That's most important. Then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, my camera has more megapixels than your camera. Oh,
Yeah.
I got BSI on mine and you don't have
Yeah.
BSI on
Well,
yours.
you're
It
absolutely
just
right.
switches like the wind blows and it changes.
You're absolutely right,
know.
which is why we talk about spec, readers and people that buy off a spec sheet, which I don't care, that whatever. But the thing about Sony, which I didn't investigate or do anything about, and when the big thing was, well, the Sony refresh rate on their EVF is 120 frames per second, but 9 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 but
stop your camera. Oh man.
I can't hear.
Oh.
Vahagn, how's your hearing doing?
Yeah, I know. Hey, look, what good is specs if your camera doesn't turn on? He started laughing. The video guy's like, damn, man, how is your Z6 working and my Sony is not? I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, the Nikons have always been built like a tank.
Hey,
from
man,
day one.
look, I agree with Josh. Autofocus on Z6 original or Z6 II. Maybe the Sony beats it. Birds. There we go. Nine.
I wish it was saying money.
So anyway, man, look, go out and shoot, man. I'm tired of this, like, my camera's better than yours, this, that. But I just called the guy out. Who cares, man?
No, you did the right thing. I mean, he just, it's just like with Frono there. It's like, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. Right? You can, it's like, you could say, you could look and it's now someone's looking at your face, it's your mannerisms too. Say somebody's all dressed up to go to a fancy gig or whatever, and you can look at them with straight face and say, man, you look great. You look really sharp. Or they're looking at you and you go, oh, you look really great. Depending on how you say it, how your mannerisms are, the whole message gets turned around, and people, they just don't think about what they say before they say it. And I'll bet you right now, I'm sure he is aware of your video and he's probably saying, yeah, I probably kind of,
or he's denying whatever he said and being, you know how he is. But
I mean, if you feel strong about it and you're 100% sure you're right, then you should have no problem going on somebody's show or going on a live stream and backing up what you say.
And if he comes to my show, I said, listen, let's be professional about this. You said this. Is this right? And why is it right? So,
I mean, somebody, I don't know, is he sponsored by a manufacturer or, I mean, it's,
I don't know.
People, if they're like, are up front and you're up front, you're reviewing a product, you'll say, so-and-so supplied me with this product and they know I'm going to review it and say what I think of it. And, I'm not doing it to tell them what they want to hear. I'm doing it to evaluate your product. And that's the way it should be. And if you love the product, then great. And if you have an issue with, like, I think one brand there, fan noise was loud or something with a light, or what have you, or some other YouTuber might have been Simon, but anyway, you just say how it is and just say, you're not buying my vote, man, and you're like that, you're not buying my vote, you're giving me a product, I'm going to tell people what I think of it, and
well,
it's a good product, they'll know it's a good product.
Well, if he's sponsored, he's got to say, this video is sponsored by Sony, or and make a commercial out of Sony. But I don't think he's and we would never know until we see his finances, and it's none of our business.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that they'll say, my video is sponsored by Squarespace. I mean,
why would he though? Think about it. If Sony cuts you a check for $200,000 and says favor us, you wouldn't say anything. I mean, depending on the kind of person you are, but But I'm not claiming that he's doing that. No, I don't know. But yeah, there you are. Oh no.
No, I'm not here, but can you hear me at least?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I have no idea. Something going on with the A10 Mini Pro. It just locked up.
That's a nice post.
You gotta love live streams, right?
You'll have to go back and watch this when it's all done.
Well.
It was
so
funny.
Be it.
It was funny.
Yeah. So be it. Maybe that's my trigger or my cue to cut this off here. I hate to, because there's a lot of great conversation going on. And about 8 million comments since this happened that I'm missing.
Yeah, Nikon doesn't give out anything, man. Even to their ambassadors, they're like, you got to pay for the shit.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I think that, obviously they'll get a chance to try a lens or get access to a lens to use when they need it. But so does their NPS members. If they pay for the high plan, they could get a lens sent to them to use for a while and then send it back, so. But they're not, like I said, they're not getting free cameras.
Yeah, see, there you go. You never know what's going behind the scenes with them. You don't know. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, by the way. What was I gonna say? Hey Josh, did you download the firmware 2.0 and then went out and shot when you were saying that about the focus? I'm curious to see how it acts with a native Z lens, like the 400Z or the 800 PF. If it does that, what he was describing, it shouldn't matter, right? If he's using an FTZ adapter and an F-mount lens.
He's saying I did today. He says he did today. So I'm assuming he's meaning he put the firmware in today and used it with the new firmware. If I'm assuming correctly.
Yeah. All I could say is that I had better success with surfing than I did with birds. Maybe because the background was just very busy and you had this weird thing going on in the backdrop. The birds were very small and I just had a little bit of an issue doing 3D. Maybe I wasn't doing something right, man. That's why.
Well, if they're moving really, really fast, I mean, obviously when you're in 3D, you gotta take the focus point and you gotta lock it on that particular bird that you want to track. And if they're moving too fast, sometimes you can't even lock on them because they're too fast.
So when you say lock on, you AF back focus.
Well, whatever you're using, whether you're using if you're using your half press on your shutter or your back button, you have to get them within your that focus box, whether it's large area, wide, small, medium, whatever you're using. If you're using 3D, you gotta get the point on the bird. That's why I use the wide area large first, because you have a bigger area to grab the bird. Then once you got the bird in that, then you can hit the 3D, another button for 3D. And then that will track it better, because the wide area large is not going to track the bird. It's got to stay within the box or close to the box. But you can get it in the box. You grab it initially, then you go to the 3D mode, and then it's going to follow it. But if you're
tell you what, I give you an idea for your next video on your channel. That's exactly what you do. Explain it so I can see what you're saying. Like, I want to see it. I was using that photographers, I don't know, you watched the Mossman video, right? With the second one where I was interviewing that senior citizen
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the knee pad. He was using a R6, and I was impressed by the way that camera locked. You know, it found the bird fast. You know, and their focus points are like kind of like they're blue, so you could see it clearly. You know, it's cool. So, Larry, yeah. Hey, man, I think that's they're a step away from perfecting that AF.
But
And that,
they're so close, and like you said, you got to look at a whole camera system. If you're new to the game and you don't have lens invested in a certain brand, if you had no lenses at all, you're just starting and you say I want a mid to a high tier camera, then you got to look at everything. Everything matters. It's not just one thing. It's everything.
yeah, I like the colors of the Canon. I like the colors of the Canon. You know, my friend has an R5 and it does great eye tracking. Yep.
Yeah, I tell you, I've had I was on the I'm still am I'm on the pre-order list high up for the 800 PF, but if I got a call tomorrow saying it came in, I'd say keep me on the list, but I'm going to hold off right now because my subject matter has left me down here. It's horrific. I don't even think I took when I went out Friday. I don't even think I took 40, 50 pictures.
Hey, did Chuck leave us?
No, I'm still here.
Hey.
Still trying to run the show in the dark, but
Well,
man.
Hey, some people say they do their best work in the dark. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Anyway, Chuck, great show, guys. Sorry, I kind of was a little hot in the collar, but
Don't be sorry, man. Honesty's
no
always the right thing.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah, you can't see the frustration in my face. It's probably a good thing. I have no idea. No,
Maybe you need to restart the
no.
stream.
I got to reboot the computers.
Yeah,
What it
that's good.
is
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I haven't done that for a couple of days. Believe it or not, I just putting it in sleep mode, and I think that's the problem. It's just I lost the network connection to my camera on the ATEM Mini Pro. So there you have it. All right.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm so fascinated with eagles now. Like I love their mannerisms. I've been watching eagle videos on YouTube for the past 2 days. Just the way they catch their prey in the water. That's just freaking amazing, man. I don't know how these guys get these shots, man. You seen the ones with the chicks in the nest and how the eagles come and give them food? You seen those videos?
Yeah,
That's
I got pictures of I couldn't get a picture of the baby when it was small because the nest was like I think the nest had a basement. I think it was like a 3-level apartment. It was so big. And you couldn't see the chick until it was a pretty good size before you could see it because that nest was so deep. I mean, literally the eagle's head would disappear feeding the chick. But I got some in flight where the mom or the dad are flying in with a fish in their talons and the baby's in the nest, but half his body is sticking up above the top of the nest and he's waiting for that food to come in. And
That's
so
crazy.
cool. It is so cool. But I enjoy ospreys getting their prey better than eagles though, because eagles, the few times I've been able to get an eagle get a fish in the water, it's like so nonchalant. Their talons just drag across the water and come up with a big fish. And there's like no big splash, no big ceremony. It's almost like, I guess I'll get something to eat. And they just go down, whoop, get a fish every time. and it's beautiful to watch, and they're beautiful birds. I love them. But when an osprey comes down, whack, hits the water, water splashes up, bird disappears, bird pops up. If it has a big fish, it's sitting there bobbing for a while, trying to fight the fly, to get in flight with the fish. A lot more action with the osprey. I know, like Mark Smith in Florida there, he gets some phenomenal osprey shots because he's got them all over the place down where he lives. So, I mean, he's shooting ospreys, getting fish in the ocean all day. Where I go, I might sit there half a day and see 3 osprey try to get a fish. He probably has 300 osprey getting fish.
Yeah, I'm on a MacBook Pro, Mike. I'm really interested in the new M1. I think the Max is as big as I need. M1 Max.
Mac Studio?
Yeah. I think it's going to be something that's on the wish list.
$19.99.
Yep. That'd be perfect for what I'm doing here.
That's what I'm on now, the Max,
Yep.
not the Ultra. Ultra's overkill.
Yeah.
Yeah, those eagles, man. I'm almost tempted to go to Alaska because they have that salmon thing that happens every year with the streaming.
Yeah, you could do that. I'd like to go to Alaska to get the bears getting the salmon, and then you got one area where the eagles are constantly getting the fish too. I mean,
Right? They have there's 50 eagles over there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a combo platter. Go and pay one big bill and do the bears and the eagles and get them both done, and go home with 10,000, 15,000 pictures, and then no one will see you again for a year because you'll be processing them all on your computer.
Yeah. All right, Chuck. It's no fun when we don't see you. So
I thought it would be better.
nah.
You're the best looking guy in the bunch, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you got all your hair and
You got all your
little,
hair, you're styling.
Yeah.
So we don't see you. So
We
see
got
Steve-
eagles here in Connecticut too. Yeah. It's just I need to reboot everything again. Of course, I'm running like 11 tabs. I can't complain. This little laptop is a killer, but every now and then it needs a refresh. So
Rich, you're probably taking the boat ride on the Connecticut River to get the eagles in Connecticut. I think there's a boat that goes out, right?
Oh, Hank, good night, buddy. Sorry.
Good night, Hank.
During the winter, he's talking. Rich talks about here. Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe Rich, or I don't know. Rich can answer that. Maybe.
You know what? I kind of miss Ken not talking photography. You know what I mean? I kind of miss him not. You know, I like him talking photography. I kind of miss that. You know, he's not the same when he talks all this other stuff he talks.
There's your answer, Mr. Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember they'd be on the Connecticut River, and then I think there's a dam. There is a dam somewhere, and I think towards the beaches. Yeah, and you can get them at the dam.
Is that in Rhode Island?
Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Long Rider, nail on the head, buddy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw this up here just because I appreciate that, Robert. Man, I love to see you in here. Long Rider, I love you being in here too. Rich, if you've been in here and I haven't recognized you before, I am now. Thanks for dropping in. So yeah, this is what we do on a regular basis. We're not always so feisty, but it's just an open forum. Everybody gets in here and talks about things. We find a topic and then, man, we take off. Then we get bored with that and we change topics and talk about something else. But yeah, I'm over here animating this conversation as if everybody can see me. So that's how nutty I am. But yeah, I'm glad you guys dropped in. I want to get more people in here. This is always fun. This has been a pretty lively chat tonight. I can't wait to see the chat count on this one. No doubt about it. It's going to be enormous. But oh man, You know, this is how much we love photography, though. We're willing to go to battle. And this is why everybody loves their brand. Everybody's willing to go to battle for their brand. But when somebody starts saying things that we don't necessarily agree with, it's not that we don't agree with. Maybe it's just we consider them to be falsehoods. We really get up in arms. And that's kind of what went on here tonight. However, those of you, and if you've been in here before, you understand that, you know, we're not saying Nikon is the only brand or all other brands are terrible. Not at all. I don't care what you shoot. Fuji, Canon, Sony, Olympus or OM or whatever we call it today, Panasonic, I don't care. You know, that's your preference, and that's great that you have a preference and whatever. We're not going to beat your camera up, but we will talk about influencers. We will talk about some fanboys that are over the top. And maybe you consider we're over the top. I hope not, because we're just passionate photographers that shoot Nikon and doing our best to make sure it gets its fair shake. So,
and I just want to add that got a little too heated, but you know, I always still invite Tony to come on one of our streams and just talk.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, you know, like I said, Tony, I don't know you. Like I said, Tony, I don't know you personally, man. You might be an outstanding person, but when it comes to what you said, you know, we have issues with that. So.
I just want to acknowledge Mr. Stewart says he's going to put links in your discussion tomorrow, Chuck, and thank him again, and nice photos, and enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate David coming in. I know he may still be listening, and I feel bad, but I knew this was what everybody wanted to talk about tonight because, again, I saw the pre-discussion going on in the chat before we went live, and I know, and I watched the chat while David was talking, and I knew everybody was okay. Not that they weren't interested in what you were saying, David. If you're still in here. It's just, you know how it is. It was breaking news.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I appreciate again, Vahagn, you know, you're passionate and you're passionate about photography. You're passionate about Nikon, and you're also passionate about truth. Okay. So,
Yeah.
you know, I told you were speaking for a lot of people, and I think you see that.
Yeah.
But,
I might have said a few things today that were kind of over the top. You know,
well,
I'm not that
you
kind
know,
of guy. I
well,
just meant to say, you know, if you have the balls, come on.
yeah,
Don't, that's a figure of speech saying,
yeah.
come on. We want you to come on. Okay. So nothing against you personally, you know. So,
No, I know. I know. Yeah,
not you, Chuck.
Oh,
Tony.
all right.
I'm not talking to you.
Man, how narcissist am I?
The paranoia is setting in.
I'm saying nothing against you, Tony. It was just a figure of speech. If he is going to get hurt over it, you know, I might have used some colorful language here, but you know, I think he gets the point. He's not a dumb guy.
Ronald, gotta love Ronald's comments. Sensitive because other brands have faults and get overlooked, or they get passes on their weaknesses, bro. Yeah, absolutely. That is always a comment I have about some of the influencers is the fact that, you know, they may bring it up in other cameras. And again, look, that just paints a picture for me when I see that. And, you know, maybe others can look and see what they think. Maybe I'm looking into something that isn't really there. But I think that's what gives me the motivation to continue to fight back with some of the influencers. It just kind of, you know, just give us a fair shake. And I think Josh brought some sense to the conversation as well. And I think it's a combination. That's why, you know, this channel exists, is we can get in here and do this, you know. And I appreciate everybody.
Yeah, but
appreciate that.
You can't really bring up autofocus without bringing everything else up.
You're right. You're right. It's a whole combination of things, but you know, Nikon.
Well, every manufacturer. Problem is every manufacturer and some get away with it and some don't, obviously, but every manufacturer is going to highlight what they think is their best features on their cameras and whatnot. But like in the case of some of the other cameras, and I won't mention what brand, you can tout a certain function or capability, but then when you read the fine print, it's one of those, has like a note 1 or whatever. You read note 1 and it says, when in this mode and this setting and this and this and this and this, and then you can do that. But nobody comes out and says, well, it's really not that effective because you got to meet all these conditions in order to be able to do that. That's just glossed over, and it's just like a given. Oh, it'll do that, and that camera won't do that. Well, yeah, but the other camera doesn't have a list of conditions you have to meet to take the picture.
Mosman is just loving this.
Agnetha, thank you very much. Well said. We needed to vent, and we did. And now we'll get back to where we left off. Our very good camera. Thanks, Agnetha.
Yeah. Hey, Roy, if the Z9 ever overheated, I'd get pissed. Like,
so Long Rider, I'm gonna put this up here to show that you're the real deal too. I mean, you'll call it like you see it, and we all have to do that. But thanks, man. I'm really happy that you joined us. I really am. I want to hear more about your A9 though. I know the A9 kind of set a standard before the A1, so. All right, so somebody brought up.
Been so busy tonight, it's ridiculous, huh?
And he asking others to make a Nikon scene. Yeah.
Yeah, Morton Hilmer, man, he's so dramatic.
Yep. So somebody brought up earlier tonight, I need to get Camera Conspiracies guy to come on, which I wouldn't do because I don't know. Forgive me, but I'm going to say it this way. I think he's an idiot. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reach out to him. And this is how I know he's the real deal, because I'm going to say, look, I think you're an idiot. However, my community would love to talk to you on a live stream. And I'm inviting you, not as an attack, but inviting you to come on the show and chat with everybody. And let's see what he says. It may not be your approach, but it's mine. I keep looking at the camera as if you're seeing me. Oh, man.
Chuck, at my end, I haven't seen you move in like 20 minutes. I mean, you're really good at that freezing.
I know. I know. I'm holding up a reflector, the black side of a reflector in front of the camera right now. And here I am. I was holding my hand up as if you can see that. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah. Oh. The car. There you go. I like that, Moz, man. Cars and coffee culture out here in California. Yeah, we got it out here too, and down in Nashville. This is a photography version, cameras and comedy. Yeah, and we vented, and now it's time to laugh about it a little bit. It doesn't take away the fact that we still have feelings and want to bring it up. And maybe if he watches the beginning of this video, he'll never talk to us. However, if he watches the end of this or live stream, then maybe we have a chance to at least sit down with him. I was going to invite him. I don't live that far from him. I could actually go have a cup of coffee and talk across the table. Oh, that's a good point, Roy. Can you imagine what people would say if the Z9 overheated? I can't even imagine.
They'd all be saying, "Oh, use it as a boat anchor."
Oh. Let's see. I'm scrolling pretty quick. David from Australia. I haven't seen him in a while. I used to watch him quite often. He used to do a lot of live streams. I'm gonna have to try to find him again, because I don't know if I subscribed to him or not. You guys always have authentic, genuine discussions for
Hey.
real fellas. Yeah, thank you, Ronald.
You got to get Ronald on here one day.
I know, and I was going to say that earlier, but we were in the throes of a discussion, and I forgot to do it. Yes, Ronald, and he had said way back when that he would do that. So, Ronald, we got to get you in on one of these shows on a Saturday night or Wednesday, whatever your preference is. Here's Sith Sense. I did not. I did not. I started with the D4 as far as flagships go.
Hey, I'd love to take a photo walk with Ken and Con and Becky one day.
Yeah.
You know, their photo walks are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like arguing with them the whole time.
I had a D3S at one time. Unfortunately, I got robbed. I had all my camera gear that I had over 25 years all got stolen out of my house. And when I moved down here, I didn't have any cameras at all. And I sold my car in order to buy new gear. But that's how it works. But I had a D3S, and then the next thing closest to was the D850, and then now I got the Z9. But I love that D3S. I really like that camera a lot.
Yeah, great camera, legend camera. That's a legend right there.
Wow, Robert, I didn't see that coming. That he got upset because of lack of firmware updates, because he was really happy with his A9. I know. All right, there it is. It's now public. I am open. Would love to. All right, Ronald, you're stuck now. You can't go back on that.
All right.
we're gonna get you in here. Just get in touch with me. Let me know when you're not busy and would like to join us on, either Wednesday afternoon or Saturday night. Entirely up to you. Just let me know.
I'd totally tell Becky, hey, we'd be shooting the little birds on the ponds, and I'll be like, hey, let me pose you. Let me shoot some portraits of you. Because I'm a portrait shooter.
You'd be like, forget the birds, the birds.
They'd be fun to hang out with, It'd be fun to hang out with.
So this is a true.
They got great architecture to take pictures of. Being in England, I mean, we don't have that kind of stuff in the United States. So, I mean, they're really fortunate that way. I mean, their biggest problem is fighting with the bad weather all the time.
Yeah. Hey, long rider, I quit alcohol as of today, buddy. So, no more drinking for me, man. I've done my fair share. It's time to put that behind me, man.
Yeah, that was a good video with Mark Cruz, and I can't remember who it was that was interviewing or talking to him, but that was a pretty good video on autofocus.
He liked that stuff, huh, Maz? Don't get me tempted, man. A shot of that opens up your sinuses.
All right. Man, still 23 people in here. And everybody comes say, hey, for you guys that are in here and don't comment, again, that's fine. We'd love to have you chatting with us. However, you can't imagine how many comments I get after the fact when this rolls over to video on YouTube about complaints about how long these live streams are.
Yeah, I know, Rich. That's what one of my problems was. Just the drinking was getting out of hand, and it would make me overeat and not exercise. Because when you get drunk and you wake up the next day, it's like you don't want to go exercise. Laziness kicks in. Hey, Chuck.
Sir.
There's this vodka in Armenia that's like 80 proof.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know what it is, but it's called Spirit. It's called Tut Arag. So anyway, that stuff is crazy. I mean, that stuff they make it in their backyards, and nah, you would love that vodka. Seriously, it cures everything. You're sick, you drink that, you're cured. It's that good. And the more you drink, it doesn't give you like a headache. It's like the best stuff, man. Maz, ask your girlfriend about that. She would know what I'm talking about. It's called Tooth Otter.
They made by native artisans.
Or maybe I'm saying it wrong, but I think that's what it's called. Yeah. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, Chuck, this was great. Jeffrey, David, John Ishii, Mozman, Albert, Longrider, Roy, everybody. You're at 310, Chuck.
Yeah, we're not close to the record, so no need in trying that.
You got no video, man.
Yeah, no, I'm amazed anybody's still here.
Hey, we could hear you. That's important.
Yeah, long
All right, man. I'm just giving you shit.
That's all right, man. That's okay. Yeah, a lot of us followed Steve for a long time, and yeah, you're right. That's why I brought him up about the 800 the other day. You know, if Steve Perry likes it and he's giving his points about it, and I'm worried you all can see me digging in my ear, but you can't. Now you know I was. Anyway, yeah, and he loves the 800. He's really happy with the Z9, and I do follow him and take his points with, a lot of confidence that he's giving us a straight talk.
Yeah, Mozman, I think that's what it is.
Good night, Rich, and thanks for dropping by, buddy. Those that are in here now, if you're leaving, now I got a beg for subscribers. If you would, and you'd be so kind, and you want to be part of this, by all means, subscribe and hit the bell so you hear. I know that's everybody says that, but the truth is, if you hit the bell for all notifications, you'll see the reminders come up for the live streams. And if you don't mind, drop a like. I really appreciate that. It makes me feel better. I get to go stand in the bathroom.
Subscribe. Hit the like button, guys. Yeah. AP Studios.
Really appreciate it if you do. All right. Ronald, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Appreciate it in big ways.
Every time somebody says Steve Perry, I remember, don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. That's why I play drums, man. I can't sing for.
Yeah, I was a big Journey fan in the day.
Yeah, they're great.
That's how The Sopranos ended. Remember the last moment of The Sopranos? Yeah. Come on, Jeffrey. You never watched The Sopranos? Jeffrey.
My feed is breaking up. I got it now.
So you're the cause. You're the cause.
It must. I got the little circle of doom about 4 times tonight.
Hell yeah, Long Rider. Hey, did you know? I told you this story a million times. Never mind.
I was always a big Chicago fan.
Hey, thank you, Roy. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Agnetha. Albert.
Thank you.
Hey, yes. Albert. Thank you for backing me up in that comment section, buddy. Appreciate it. You too, Mozman.
There you go. He's a big wildlife photographer, Steve Matthias. Yeah. Wow. It's hard to know. There's so much. Nikon can be the most. The brand Nikon just brings about the best, worst, and middle in everybody. You got people that are changing systems to Nikon, back to Nikon. You got people that are haters of Nikon. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
You want to call it the brand you love to hate, or what? I don't know.
Yeah. Hassan, good night, buddy. Thanks for dropping by, man.
Good night, guys. All right, man. I'm out too, guys.
All right.
Have a good night. Chuck, thank you again. Jeffrey, always a pleasure.
Same here, guys.
Everybody,
Thanks, Chuck.
Hey, thank you guys for being in here. Thank you guys for being guests. And, you know, I like it when we have several people in here. It just keeps us going and everybody enjoys the chat. So, and everybody'd
Yeah.
rather hear you guys than me anyway. So there you have it. I'm smart that way.
Yeah, thank you guys. And,
Hey, you know, we're just good filling, you know, when you got to go to the bathroom, you know.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to do that once or twice every stream. But then again, you know, you guys don't have to worry sometimes. You edit your photos, or your videos. I'm live.
Hey, Chuck, can I plug something?
Sure. Go ahead.
Tuesday, we're changing times, 10 a.m. If you can join 10 a.m. Pacific time. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I might just have a party like free for all. Whoever wants to join the chat on the camera, come on, let's talk whatever we need to talk about or just hang out. So, you know, whoever's available, 10 a.m. That's 1 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday.
That sounds good to me because I have too many late nights, which I wouldn't pass up. But that sounds great.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good night.
All right, Vahagn. Thanks, man.
One.
Absolutely appreciate you being here, and David being here, and Jeff, of course. You know, Jeff's my sidekick, man. He's the guy that keeps me straight on the manual.
Hey, I'll kick you in the side as often as I need to, Chuck.
There you go. Here you go. Albert has something for you before you go there, Vahagn.
Yeah. What was that? I didn't catch that. What did you say, Chuck?
I said Albert has something for you before you go. He says, "Continue to be yourself. Don't change. As long as you stay true to yourself and your values."
Thank you, Albert.
I concur.
I read that. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Agree, 100%, 110%.
Hey, guys, thanks for backing me up, everybody. I appreciate
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know who you guys are. All right, man. Good night. Rock and roll.
All right, buddy. Good night. Have a great one,
everybody.
You taking off too, Jeff?
Yeah, I think so. I got to take my wife to the beach tomorrow.
All right, so you guys are going to drop out, and everybody's going to be looking at a black screen.
Well, if people
I'm just
hang in, I'll hang on for a few.
No, I'm just kidding.
You want to break the record? What's the record, Chuck? What's the record anyway? What's your
just shy of 4 hours? I think 3 hours and 48 minutes or something. No, I'm not going for the record.
You're not going for the record? Well,
no.
One night you're going to have to say this is the record-breaking night, and we'll have to stretch it out.
Yep. I have to take a nap before we do that one during the day. Okay. All right.
I think my next video I'm going to do a short documentary on alligators.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my next one, because everybody that comes down here, believe it or not, you know, when they go into these wildlife refuges and whatnot, the first thing they want to know with a camera, they go, "Any gators?" They don't ask about birds. Any gators? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, they're there, and then they talk to you like, well, because the gators will cross the road where I am, because you got, you know, they go from the brackish water to the salt water, and they cross over 2 roads actually in this park. So they'll say, "Did the gators cross yet?" And I says, "Well, last time I checked, they're not on a timetable. They kind of do it when they feel like it." You know, I mean, like they think like you got a cheat sheet, and you go, "Okay, the ospreys feed between 9 and 10, and there's 3 of them. The gators cross between 8 and 8:30, and the painted buntings are at the feeders at about 10. It's just so funny.
Okay. For everybody out there, if you have not heard this, let me throw this out there. If you haven't heard it, Google it and listen to it. It's hilarious and it's real. a lady calling a radio station to talk about the deer crossing where all the deer are being hit by cars. And she wants to know why they put a sign up for the deer to cross there. Did you catch that?
I
She's
caught it.
serious. But you could probably Google deer crossing lady on radio. I guarantee it's going to come up. I laughed till I cried. It's like unbelievable because the guy on the radio is thinking, I don't know if she's is she serious? And it was hard to tell because she was serious. But if you haven't heard that, you got to go listen to it. I guarantee you're going to laugh. The deer crossing sign. Why do they put those signs up in the worst places so the deer go there to cross? And the guys on the radio is thinking, is she serious? How do we answer that? All right. It's something else. All right. Well, that said, Jeff, thanks a lot for hanging in here with me. All you that are in here right now, thank you so very much. Appreciate it. This is what we do here. Nothing special. We just get on here and we go at it talking about cameras, video, the industry, influencers, whatever's fun at the time. So, and you're part of the show because as you can see, we constantly look at the chat. We're bringing comments up, talking about them. You can ask questions. You can call in on the phone line. And if you really want to be a guest on the show, then drop me an email and we'll see if we can't make that happen. But again, thank you all. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. And if you drop a like on the way out, it just makes me feel better, motivates me to come back and do this next week where maybe you can see me. All right. God bless you all. Jeffrey, I'll turn it over to you to say good night and we'll wrap this one up.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Pleasure. Just being able to participate. I thank Chuck for that. And we got a nice community here and hopefully we can get some more people in here and get these numbers up for Chuck.
All right. Hey, Jeff. Oh, I got to put the comment up here. Mozman, what's your channel on YouTube?
I don't know the URL off the top of my head, but it's I'm under the title Selective Imagery is the name.
Here you go. Remind me tomorrow, Jeffrey, in case I forget to do it. But what I'm going to do is as soon as this rolls over on YouTube, I think I have your URL, your URL. Because you had sent it to me to look. Is that correct? I think you did.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you didn't, if you just send it to me and I'm going to drop it in the description for the video. So anybody wants to find your channel, I'll have it in the description on the video and you can go hunt down Mr. Jeff.
Yeah. It's not going to be a ton of posts. I'm not going to be quite as busy as Chuck, that's for sure. But I have to have the critters to create the content, if you know what I mean. Right now, the critters are all on strike, so I was thinking of doing like a just putting something in once a week, photos of the week type of thing, like a 1 or 2 minute skit and show some half a dozen pictures, maybe a week, that type of thing in between the videos. And but I got a lot of work to do. I'm still learning the video software.
That's okay, man.
Everything's new to me, but
hey, look where Jared Poland is now. And I remember honestly watching him way back when he had a little plastic fold out table with a tablecloth on it, talking about Nikon gear. He started that way. The point is that everybody starts there and works their way up.
Yeah.
You got a great start on it, man. So good on you.
Well, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right, folks. I think that's it. God bless you all. Hope to see everybody Wednesday or, if you can make it. Don't, if you can't because you're working or whatever, I understand. But a lot of people do on Wednesdays here in the States because of the time. They'll just throw it on and listen to the show. As you can see, there's really not so much to see most of the time. It's more about just listening to the conversation. So again, God bless you all. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here Wednesday afternoon, 12 noon. And who knows who's going to be on as a guest, and who knows what the topic's going to be, because it's going to come from you all. Thanks a lot, and good night. I'm waving to the camera as if you can see it.
Good night. I'll wait for you. I'll put both hands up.
All right, brother. All right. It's 12 noon, Rich, 12 noon Eastern. Every Wednesday. It's every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern, every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So whether you get a notification or not, you know that we're going to be live on those 2 times on those days. All right. Again, thanks a lot. See you guys Wednesday for the next round. Bye-bye.